This is the next generation language access, and basically this program is made for the bilingual and multilingual students at DPS. And what we do really, they would receive a very high quality of interpreting services. I mean, they're gonna learn how to become certified interpreters. Most of these students, they are bilingual, as I said, multilingual, and they are already helping their family members when they go to the hospitals, when they have any other needs, in the community. But right now they are becoming professional in doing so, and they can make money, they can start their own business. I think our goal as educators and as a district is to really use the assets that we have in our hands, and right now it's our ELL students with the multiple languages and cultures that they can, just contribute to the community.
I took the same program training before them. So this program have many benefits. So among them, we can tell they can work as contract interpreters for any agency, and that they can also work for DPS. Because there are few interpreters out there on the field, and our students speak many languages, they know the culture, they have been with DPS, so they can help us in the community as outreach person for the district. I am called to many schools, and I cannot do it by myself. Basically, I was pushing this to have students to do the things I do, so they can be able, we're going to rely on them in the coming days and coming months. I just want to tell how wonderful, how excited I am, because I worked as an interpreter in the community. I know the need.
We are now the innovative academies of the Dayton Public Schools are in phase 3 of the Ford Next Generation Learning Academy program. And what that means is we are actually meeting with 8 tactic teams that are writing the master plan. And so that was so important and so valuable that we now can take it back and actually implement it to make sure our students are prepared for college and careers and can really support this workforce.
We are equipping our students with the necessary tools that they need to be successful. It's not just about the data that goes on in high school. We're talking about reaching our kids outside of 4 walls to obtain a career for themselves later down the road, okay?
I feel like it was really good to be in this room. I got to meet people that I ain't never been in a room with before, different principals, people behind the scenes that I don't even know about, and really get to see what goes on outside of just what I see inside my classroom.
I think overall it was good to collaborate, bring us all together. We got industry partners here. You have teachers, you have directors, our chiefs, principals are all coming together, and we're all sharing our different experiences and expertise along with our students, giving our students a voice to be able to share and speak on their experiences and the things that they want, because it's not just about what we see, but also want to see it through their lens as well, because sometimes we get so far disconnected, from being a student. And I think that's huge, to have all parties all on deck to collaborate. So this was awesome.
Well, I first would like to thank the hundreds, literally hundreds of partners that have come now to over 10 meetings with us to put all of this together. And from the bottom of our hearts, we thank them. For any community partners that haven't been engaged, we would like you contact us. We have job shadowing, mentorships, internships, all types of things that they can provide. All of that helps. But the biggest thing is, when you hear about the innovative academies of the Dayton Public Schools, be sure to spread the good news that there's plenty of about what it means to support a district that's on the move and making transformations that not only helps our kids, it's helping the entire region.
I'm a part of Shared Governance, and we are talking about a steering committee. We're talking about how to put people into successful roles and how we can all communicate through different teams so that we're all on the same page for the actual goal. It feels good. It feels really, really good, honestly. And it only feels good because at the beginning I was confused, didn't know why I was here, just know my life coach brought me. Now it's like, I know exactly why I'm here. I know what we want the end goal to be, and I'm really happy to see that what I'm saying, in my opinion, my comments are building into that final presentation. I'm really excited to see how it'll all come out, honestly. Like, being here in the process is totally different than seeing the final outcome and not knowing the conversations we had, the different meetings, any of that. So I'm really excited to see how the work will actually come out and turn out.
My group is working on establishing a framework for partners. Work on how do we create a database of all of the partners at all the schools in the district so we can create some standard operating procedures on how partners interact with the district and with various schools, who are the contact points at those partners, what areas or what buckets do they interact with. Is it an attendance situation? Is it an academic situation? Is it college and career readiness? The way we're approaching it at Ruskin, the way we're approaching the Innovative Academies of Dayton Public Schools work is through two paths. We have an experiential path. We are getting kids out into the world, and we are bringing experts into Ruskin to try to raise kids' awareness of what is out in the world, what careers are out there when they graduate, when they're adults. The other path is the academic path. It's one thing to try to create a high school classes that will help kids once they graduate. It's another thing to be able to prepare kids for those classes. That starts with us. That starts with us making sure that our academic program at the elementary level is tight, that we are making sure that kids are meeting benchmarks and are able to work at grade level so they are successful in middle school and in high school.
I received a grant for $500. It allowed me to purchase something called Make Do.
30 yoga balls.
To start a contemporary music program.
These kids have been asking for a dunk tank.
I applied for a Chess Up 2, which is an electronic chessboard that has multiple settings. It also can actually explain effectively why this is a wrong move, why this is a bad move. We have a lot of kids in chess club. I'm thrilled about that, but I can't be at every table all the time. This at least gives the kids another opportunity while they're playing to see, okay, wait, this might not be the best possible move. Overall, it was just do the paperwork. I hate to put it like that, but it's not that complicated. It's just do it. I want to thank the DPS Foundation for providing this. I would not have been able to have this for the building without that support. I'm thrilled that our kids get to learn on more advanced technologies.
I applied to get money to be able to fund a gardening endeavor. Well, with a lot of the newcomer kids that we have, they're coming into a country, a state, a school that has food that is not necessarily something they're used to eating. I know that a lot of us in the city live in areas that there's stores that are not close. So coupling the different foods that they're not used to eating with not having food in proximity to their houses, it became a need, you know, with so many kids that are hungry that want to take food home. I ended up coming up with the idea that it was something that we could try to do here and spur from the winter months into the spring months so that by the end of the school year, they would have plants that they could take home to transplant in their own homes or on balconies, yards, whatever, to be able to harvest their own crops. I felt like it was pretty to the point and simple. I did it in one evening. I kind of thought about what I was going to apply for, made a list of the things that I would need to purchase, and I plugged in the science standards that I knew were going to be related to food, and I mean, it went fairly smoothly. It was very quick.
I think it makes a difference because it gives our students opportunities outside the school building. Sometimes as principals, we don't always have the funds to be able to do everything that we like our students to experience. So, you know, we fundraise, do our own things to try to make that happen. But this particular grant gave us the opportunity to do something that I wanted to be able to give my students. And it was like a gift. Like, they thoroughly enjoyed going to the theater, dressing up like little princes and princesses, and all the things that you do to have that experience. So the grants that teachers write, it makes a difference for them. I've seen several of our teachers got them as well last year, and so they had some opportunities to be able to come into the building and do things for them. Various different activities that were afforded to our kids because of the grants.
Good morning, DPS. Good morning. I can't hear you. Good morning, DPS. Good morning. Welcome to this year's annual Team Vote March. Y'all look so good here today. Give yourself a round of applause. You're here to cast your ballot for the first time. I see the bands got new outfits on. I see International is making their debut, their dating debut for the first time. Man, y'all showing up and showing out with pride. That's what it's all about. I want you to know that today, the fact that you are fired up, ready to go and vote is powerful. Your ballot is your access point to democracy, and voting is the entryway to power. I want you to know that today is a moment that you'll never forget. Today is all about you. At this moment, you are making an affirmative decision to take a stance in your way of life. You're going to make decisions that are going to impact your neighborhoods, your schools, your community, and ultimately your way of life. Regardless of how you vote, I want you to vote your community. I want you to vote your neighborhoods. I want you to vote your values. Those are things that make you who you are. If you vote for people and issues that reflect those, you will never go wrong. I want you also to remember that there's an election at least every 6 months. That means that the energy that brought you here has to keep you in the same moment even after you cast your ballot. In this election, and the one that follows, and the one that follows, and the one that follows. That energy is what is going to make you become or assist and impact in the very change that you want to see in your community.
I now call to order this November 11th review session. Madam Treasurer, may we have a roll call?
President Goodwine.
Here.
Dr. Bailey.
Here.
Mr. Lacey.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Present.
Ms. Reinhardt.
Present.
Mr. Walker.
Present.
Ms. Wick.
Present.
Ms. Woods.
Present.
7 present.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our mission is to inspire, educate, and empower. Our vision to inspire, educate, and empower scholars for a lasting impact. And our purpose is to cultivate a supportive and engaging educational experience.
Thank you. Dr. Lawrence, I believe we're starting off with a presentation.
Yes, we are. We have the mighty Rivers Edge Eagles here today to give a presentation, a co-presentation with Principal Kristen Northcutt and Chief of Elementary Schools, Miss Judith Spurlock.
Good evening, President Dr. Goodwine, Vice President Dr. Bailey, members of the Board of Education, Superintendent Dr. David Lawrence, Treasurer Arbaha, our colleagues and members of our school community in attendance and viewing this broadcast. We thank you for the opportunity to provide an update on Rivers Edge Montessori's building expansion and the exciting progress that we've made as we grow from a PK6 program to include our first class of 7th graders this school year and our upcoming addition of 8th grade next year. This expansion represents much more than simply adding new grade levels. It's about deepening our Montessori philosophy and extending the continuum of learning that our students have experienced since the early years. By growing to a full PK8 program, we are giving the students the opportunity to continue developing independence, curiosity, and leadership in an environment that honors their developmental stages and the principle of the Montessori method. Our 7th graders have really stepped it up into their new roles as leaders and learners at REM and welcomed 10 new students in their grade level this year. They've undertaken great academic challenges and worked on interdisciplinary projects that a few of them will be able to share their perspective tonight. Many of them wanted to today when we went. Behind the scenes, our staff at multiple levels have worked incredibly hard transforming classroom spaces, developing the Montessori adolescent plane for ages 12 through 15, and strengthening family and community partnerships to support this transition to nurture the whole child, foster academic excellence, and build a strong foundation for our lifelong leaders and learners at REM. I would like to thank you for your continued support and belief in our vision. At this time, I'm pleased to invite Principal Northcutt to the podium to provide an overview and to share more details. I'd also like to acknowledge our special REM guests in attendance tonight, staff, students, and parents. Principal Northcutt.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to share the next steps in our Montessori journey at Rivers Edge. This is near and dear to my heart, coming from middle school to elementary, and the importance of this age group. So I want to start by letting you know I'm Kristen Northcutt, principal at Rivers Edge. My assistant, Miss Dewberry, is also here tonight to speak, as well as Miss Erickson and several of our 7th graders and their families. Tonight, we are sharing why we expanded and why we need to continue to expand to 8th grade. It's a natural continuation of Montessori pathway and how it benefits our scholars, families, and the district. So the first thing is that when we ended our grades at 6th grade at Rivers Edge, we were ending before Maria Montessori's philosophy had this transition of adolescence, which is crucial. It's the in-between between high school and elementary. It's where they're developing their identities, and they're developing from where they were of being more dependent on others to being independent, and then also into interdependence, and then being able to contribute to their community. And that's a huge part of the Montessori philosophy. So the other piece is that we also, a huge part of this is our community stayed and was able to surround we have 10 new, but also surround our current kids that had been there since they were about 3 years old. And so that family continues and extends on by us expanding. So a couple of things that have made it successful at Rivers Edge so far. And it's sticking with the Montessori philosophy. One of the big things is they're 7th graders, but they still get to go outside. So they don't go outside for recess. They go outside just for outside time when they can talk, socialize, play basketball. But we do it in the middle of their independent work cycle. And we do this to divide up the time for when they're working independently to reset and then come back in. Then we also have intentionally put electives in place. Our schedule was made and created so that they could choose what it was that they wanted to take. They were offered art, music, PE, and STEAM studio. And from that, they selected, and so for our first semester, we have kids in gym and then STEAM studio. And so that was a piece our Unified Arts teams presented to them, and then they made their selection. Then another huge part that's working for us is the low student to teacher ratio. It's allowing their learning to accelerate because of the attention that is able to be given to each kid. And then the other piece is early independent scholars competently manage transitions, responsibility, and leadership. So we are teaching them those things. It's a huge thing in middle school to be able to manage yourself. And so managing transitions is part of teaching. Our kids actually transition not in lines. They transition as if there was a bell. They have 3 minutes to get to class. They know if they're not there, then they are not on time and they are tardy to that space. They also know that they're responsible for, during that time, going to the bathroom, going to the locker, and ensuring those things happen. Also, we have a huge piece of our current culture that has drawn families into us, into our current setup. What I mean by that is, coming from the middle school level down to elementary, you see a lot more parents. But I can tell you, I've seen more parents with 7th grade in our building than I had ever really seen at the middle school level. They're very involved, and I think a huge piece of that is you go from having like 150 kids to having a real class size where you can get to know the kids. So just some data around what our makeup is currently. So we have 29 7th graders, and 19 of them actually moved up from River's Edge, 6th grade. Then we have 9 students who transferred from other schools, so Bellhaven, Eastmont, Horseman, the International School, and Westwood. And then we have 1 student who came from out of town from Columbus Public Schools. Where did the rest of our kids go? We have a small 6th grade, but looking at where the rest of them went, 16 of them went to other DPS schools, and 2 moved out of district. And then we had 2 that chose to go to a charter school, and the parents expressed that that was just because of the late transition and decision that we made for moving to 7th grade. Okay, so I'm going to take a second and turn this over to my scholars. I'm inviting them up to just share their experience as middle schoolers and what it's like for them and what new experiences they've had. So I'm going to start with Asa Brookshire.
You got this. You got it. That's how I feel. Take a deep breath. You got it. Amen.
I want to thank everybody who helped me get here to this specific moment. And I want to thank you guys for letting me speak and come up here about my experience and talk about the 7th grade at River's Edge. So my name is Asa Brookshire, and today I will be talking about the culture of REM. So what we do at REM is, what we do at REM?
What we got at REM?
Sorry.
Look at the room as if like you in a room with a whole bunch of your friends and family. Like if you want, like act like we just talking to each other.
Okay.
Act like we just talking to each other.
You can just look at her if you want to.
Like just ignore everybody else. No. Ignore everybody else in the room and just talk to me. What is REM and what do y'all do? What is it and what do you do?
What we do at River's Edge is we don't exclude people. We actually motivate. We motivate each other to do better. We raise each other up. We are very social, but we can be very independent at times. We use a lot of teamwork, a lot of the leadership and teamwork, especially with the 7th grade. And I like having the 7th grade experience right now. It's actually really good. I like it. It gives me, because all the other all the other schools in the district, like the middle schools, since they're way bigger, they don't have the learning experience that I have right now. So I really do appreciate that. and it gives me a better chance to really get to know everybody, my teachers, really give me some more time to work. Like our independent time, it gives me, if I'm ever behind on something, I can ask my teacher, what do I need to do? They help me with that, I get it done, move on to the next day. And about the social part, I'm one of those social kids. I'm definitely one of those social kids, but look, I still get my work done. Playtime is playtime, work time is work time. Whenever I need some help, I'll ask Mr. Hayes or Miss Erickson, and they got me.
So do you feel like it's more bonding time? So at Rivers Edge, do you feel like it's more bonding time than other middle schools? Like I went to E.J. Brown. So at E.J. Brown, yeah, I got the time to question my teachers and to ask them like, hey, what's this or that time to actually study? Do you feel like you actually get that time to understand what you're being taught?
Yes, ma'am.
Wait, I think I'm like 2 years older than you. Wait.
She's legit a high school student.
I'm literally just a senior. Wait.
You want to switch back?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You did really
good.
Thank you.
So Asa was one of our scholars who has been at Rivers Edge for his schooling career, and so he extended on and continued on at Rivers Edge. I'm going to invite up Aiden Nichols now. He is actually a scholar who came from out of district and came and started at Rivers Edge. And when we first initially, we didn't know because of it being a Montessori setting and the experience, but he's done really good at integrating, and the supports have been there for him. And he really wanted to talk today. So.
You got this. People clapping for you before you even know you got it.
Again.
I'm gonna talk about I'm gonna be talking about the academical changes compared to my old school and my new school. Before I came here, I went to a school called Yorktown. It was a school in Columbus, Ohio. It was, to say the least, not a very good school. People would fight all the time. People would just constantly argue. It wasn't a very good learning space. We didn't get the stuff that we have here now. We didn't have much freedom. We were basically dictated, I guess. It was dirty. Sometimes the water didn't work. Sometimes we had exposed wires. And honestly, it wasn't a good school at all. But once I moved with my dad and I came to Rivers Edge, I just felt like it was a whole new experience because I felt like it was a new experience because the schools overall, the teachers care about you. The teachers will help you get through stuff when you need to. They're very supportive. And if you need help, you just have to ask them, like Mrs. Erickson and Mr. Hayes. They're very helpful. They're not the kind of teachers to just yell at you out of the blue and not give you a reason why, or they're not the kind of teachers to just be mean out of the spite. So they're just two of the best teachers I've had before, and I like to say that the school is way cleaner. The stuff works. There's not exposed wires. People don't fight, and if there ever are fights or if there ever is drama, I feel like we can handle it better. We don't continuously talk about it, but stopping like on that day, it's just like I feel like we handle things way better at Rivers Edge Montessori. So.
You did good.
To speak to what he's talking about, we've been really focused with 7th grade with restorative practices, and we have had 2 fights at Rivers Edge, just like any other middle school. And with that being said, it was how we handled that, the follow-up of it. We did restorative circles, and we also integrated it into our lessons. My language arts teacher, Miss Erickson, integrated in the importance of the language that we use and what happens. And so it's allowed us, because we know our kids very well, it's allowed us to be very personal and put it in perspective for them versus being lost in the sea. All right, so next I have Keelan Lucky that's going to come up. He is a scholar who came from Belhaven.
Hi, my name is Keelan Lucky, and my old school was Belhaven Elementary School, and now I'm at Rivers Edge. And I'm just gonna talk about like some of the things that I can do now in my old school. At my new school that I didn't do on my own. And the differences between my new and old school was that we're more independent in doing the things we do. Like we can transition by ourselves, go up the stairs, down the stairs, and go to our specials and things without having the teacher to be right next to us. And we be able to what was I gonna say? Hold on. We have to worry about getting to class on time and manage our time better instead of just doing what we want to do. And we also get the teachers are more caring. They help us with our work and stuff instead of just handing us an assignment and going about it. We can actually ask for help, get it, and I feel like I'm learning instead of just doing the work and just taking it in and not really learning anything. Anything else? Yeah, that's really it.
So I'd like to say all three of those scholars, I actually ended up with 5 of them in my office when they heard people were speaking and were begging to come speak. These kids back here were just, on a roll about everything. And when they realized, though, I showed them a picture of the board, they were a little bit nervous. They're like, what are we doing? But thank you for coming up here, guys. It's also an experience for them. They do announcements in the morning. I have a couple of kids back here that my 7th grade is in charge of our now announcements that are live streaming, and so they are learning to publicly speak, and that is one of the big things. One, it's taken it off my plate, and it's contributed to the community. The kids know the 7th graders because of the announcements. So next up, I do have.
Before you move on.
Yeah.
Our student wanted to ask your student some questions.
Oh.
And I know she keeps tapping me about it, so I want to get it out.
Absolutely.
If I can have them come back so she can just have some questions
All right.
for them real quick. This is all you. I want to make sure the student-to-student conversation can happen. We got you. And just so you guys, she's a senior in high school. She's
Yeah,
not as old
so
as the
like
rest of us.
I'm only 17. The man kind of threw me off.
I'm not as old as the rest of them.
You are.
Let's be clear.
You
All right,
really
go
got an
ahead.
injured
Miss-
delusion.
Miss-
But I know your principal talked about like the restorative meetings. So how do you guys feel about the restorative meetings, and do you feel like they really end things? Like if you guys have ever been in one of those mediations, and if not, I know your friends have probably been in some. So how do you feel like they really help the school?
What'd you say?
How do you feel like the meetings that your principal was talking about, how do you feel like they help the school and actually end the issues that may rise in the school?
Oh, right now?
No,
No,
the
the
restorative,
meetings.
the restorative
Right.
justice meetings.
I feel like. Oh, we had a little fight altercation happen, and it was a slur used in the altercation we had, and like the next day after that we did an assignment learning about how they used to call Jewish people ghetto and stuff, and we did a Socratic assignment on it and had to annotate and think and learn about how bad the word is and how we shouldn't call people by that word, and we should just refer to people with their real name and stuff.
What have you? That was really good. You just pushed him in the middle. Now I got to target you. I have to. What have you learned from being a student at your school?
from being a student, some things I've learned is how to manage my anger, and I've just learned a lot from this school. I can't really put it into words as I haven't been here as long as Asa and some other people, but I can't.
It's changed your behavior.
Yeah,
It's changed your behavior.
Changed my attitudes, changed my whole demeanor, basically.
Thank you, scaring me.
That's about it.
And then what do you really enjoy about being at your school? Just one thing that you really enjoy about being at your school.
I enjoy the Spirit Weeks.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
So next up, I'm going to have my middle school team lead come up. Something that I don't think I mentioned earlier is myself, Miss Dewberry, and Miss Erickson all have been at the middle school level, actually. And so I think that's had a huge impact on how this was implemented and rolled out, because we know the things in transition that kind of slip through the cracks, and we've been very intentional about that. All right, Miss Erickson.
Hello everyone, I'm Miss Erickson. I'm the team lead, but I'm also one of the 7th grade teachers at Rivers Edge. Those are some of my lovely scholars, so I'm so thankful you had a moment to speak to all of you today. I am 7 months pregnant, so I'm a little emotional about what they said. But nonetheless, I'm very, very proud of them. What we have in our pictures are some of the things that we made sure to highlight and include some of the best aspects we have in our classroom. So the first 2-ish weeks to month of school, we put a lot of emphasis on building community. For example, there are slides you see string across the room. We did an activity where students just talked about the things that they had in common. We looked at commonalities. And when one student found something in common with another, they took a yarn ball and threw it to that student. So what was created in the middle of the classroom was a web that connected all of us. And our goal was to make sure everyone was a part of the connection. Another thing you can see is just the team building aspect, like the marshmallows and pasta tower challenge we did the very first day of school that got them kind of out of their comfort zone. It got them talking when they were kind of shy from being gone for so long for summer break. And then directly below that, we also did blindfolded puzzle challenges. So it pushed them as scholars to use direct language with each other, communicate well and communicate efficiently when the person doing the puzzle is not able to see the puzzle. So right off the bat, we wanted to make sure that they had a strong relationship with one another and commitment to each other. And my scholars actually kind of brought that up, that their connection to one another, their ability to bring each other up, to hold each other accountable is one of their, what they would say, strong suits of our school. And you can go to the next slide for me. So the academic piece, I am the ELA and math teacher at Rivers Edge for 7th grade. I've been working very hard on making sure that our curriculum is not just sit and do an assignment. We've been working hard on gaining that independence and fostering those executive functioning skills such as time management, independence, and self-guidance, or pushing themselves to the next step. So what I have on my screen right here is one of our very first assignments in alignment with the Amplify 7th grade curriculum. It talks about personal narrative. So what I did was use School AI to create a program that guided them to brainstorm what a pane of stained glass would look like that would represent a personal narrative that they created about themselves. So our scholars made panes of stained glass out of clear sheets of plastic and Sharpies that highlighted some of the things they learned in their personal narrative unit. So the words on each slide are the mottos that they learned from their personal narrative. So not just what happened to them, but what did they learn, how did they grow from that? And these were displayed in the building for a while for the entire school to enjoy. If you could go, thank you. And then another piece, again, long-term independence building, executive functioning, fostering project that we did. We spent about 2 weeks building haunted houses most recently. So this was in line with Carnegie's unit rates and scale factor notes, so talking about how to take a drawing or a picture and scale it up or scale it down. So students were given a gridded sheet of paper and they designed a haunted house, which had a lot of buy-in right off the bat as it was around Halloween time at the moment. Students then were coached through the SketchUp program on Google Suites, which is an architecture program, which gets them ready for some of those architecture and design career choices that they may pursue in the future. And then along with that, they had their rough draft, they had their final, they had to scale it up appropriately using a scale factor, so there was that math involved, that architecture piece. And then finally, they had to create a listing, like they were a realtor trying to sell their haunted house. So this was a long-term cumulative project that was cross-disciplinary, that allowed students to work as to their level or above their level that they needed to, that highlighted the things that they are learning, not just in math, but in STEAM Studio and ELA, et cetera. Yeah.
So one of the things that I had mentioned is we added STEAM Studio when we were considering which unified art to add with the number of kids that we had enrolled. And so in STEAM Studio, this is an example of what they've been doing in there. It's connected to the careers. You can see smells, Billy Gold, bubble tea, and then also a reporter. We had a lot of, those are just a couple of them, we had a lot of local community people come in and talk about their career, a lot of entrepreneurs. And then our kids were just developed a product pitch from that. And they then presented it to their class and the principals. So they really enjoyed and gained a lot of the terminology and the vocabulary that they learned from the community partners that were coming in. And it was really neat to see all of the community businesses coming in and working with the kids. All right, I'm going to have Whitney Dewberry, our AP, come up and talk about this.
Hello, everyone. So instead of our middle schoolers being kind of thrown into that middle school experience, right, we guide them with grace. So we do that through guided independence and check-ins. So the way we do that is, we set our intention to have our rigor really in the morning, and then allow for some independence and some small group in the afternoon, kind of practicing those skills that they were taught. Our teachers do a phenomenal job with incorporating SEL and executive functioning lessons within their lessons that they do, but then also spending that time within their day connecting with students. And then we're really intentional in teaching them organizational skills, them learning how to plan their projects out and learning that self-management so that they can be successful. So our goal is that by 8th grade, our students should be able to handle true independence and academic rigor so that they will have that smoother transition to high school. So our middle school procedures are designed within that Montessori spirit. So they follow the middle school routines, right? They have their lockers. We have a time. They don't have the bell like a traditional middle school, but they do have timers. They have a 3-minute transition, and the students know that they have to transition within that time. That's an opportunity to use the restroom, to get things out of their locker, to be prepared for their next class. They have class schedules. And they have all of that is designed within our true Montessori style and values that we have in our spaces. And the purpose of it really is for them to kind of, instead of being micromanaged, right, we're giving them that responsibility and balancing it with respect. And then, so our staff voice and school design. So I came over in the summer. I'm from Waukegan, so I come from that middle school experience as well. And so when we were kind of designing, what is this program going to look like here at Rivers Edge, we really kept the main thing, right? So thinking about our scholars and what would be the best for them. So we looked at, when we designed that, of making sure we kept their needs first. And so Our instructional time, our cycles that they're working on, our advisory periods are all connected to their needs academically and social emotionally. And it really helps to kind of engage our scholars and keep them aligned to our Montessori values. And then teachers do a fantastic job of really integrating our students' feedback and continuously pivoting in needs, like in our small groups and our smaller class sizes as well.
So at this time, we have shared everything from our perspective and from the scholars. We do have a couple of parents, if anybody wanted to come up and speak briefly about their experience of choosing either to stay in Rivers Edge for Montessori or transferring them to, if there's any parents that would like to come up, they can do that now.
So I'm Aiden's dad. I'm all for Rivers Edge, 8th grade. One of the main reasons is kids grow up too fast as it is. When you get to mixing 8th graders with 10, 11, and 12th graders, they get to growing up fast, they get to being subject to things that they maybe wouldn't have been subject to if they had stayed in the middle school setting. One of the main things I noticed about Rivers Edge is not just a school. When you walk into it, it actually feels like a family. It actually has a presence in it when you walk in the building. That staff at Rivers Edge is amazing, maybe more so better than it would be if it was 800 kids or 600 kids rather than 150. Teachers are more hands-on. They communicate way more fluently throughout the day if your kid is going through anything. I feel like Rivers Edge is definitely a better fit as far as structuring a kid for success moving forward. You know, I'm all for Rivers Edge, 8th grade. That's all.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Sir. Excuse me, one question. So your child is 7th grade?
He's in the 7th grade, yes.
All right. My one question would be, do you see him staying in Dayton Public for high school?
So, I want what's best for him. It just depends on the structure of the Dayton Public School, because I have a freshman too. He's in Dayton Public Schools, and he's doing amazing. But you know, some kids are different. Some kids require different hands-on. Some kids require different approaches to learning. So, I feel like Rivers Edge is good as far as 8th grade. It's definitely good as far as 8th grade. But moving forward, as far as will I keep him in Dayton Public Schools, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, I mean, that's to be determined. I can't answer that right now.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that all? Any other questions? I had to break a sweat up here. That's all.
Hello, my name is Alana Brookshire. That's my kid. Asa Brookshire, he is very right about him being very social, which is why I do love the environment that he's in Rivers Edge. For one, I have experienced the different middle schools in the district. And before I say what I say, I will say it's unfortunate that most kids do not receive the level of care that they do receive here at Rivers Edge. I pray that every student can receive that in the future, where it can be more smaller with less behaviors that are going on, and that they are being more readily, teachers are more readily available, and staff is not overworked and overwhelmed. I feel that at Rivers Edge, keeping him there, he's been here since he went to Head Start. He started in kindergarten, and I love that he knows his teachers. They know us. It's a family. Whether anybody goes in and out, we become very close to them very quickly, because Rivers Edge it feels like a little incubated nest with some of the most greatest workers, I believe. I think a lot of them come to work to really show the difference, especially Mr. Hayes and his other teacher. I'm sorry. Can you give me the name? Miss Erickson, I'm sorry. But I can be a little intense on my expectations for what I wanted for him in 7th and 8th grade, and I knew that it wasn't any of the middle schools that were available. Quite honestly, like the question you just asked him, we were going to remove him and go to private school for middle school if we didn't have Rivers Edge as a possibility. So to see that, it made us stay here. If I can stay in Dayton Public, I would love to stay in Dayton Public for as long as Dayton Public has the space for my son to be a part of. I feel that the restorative justice practice at Rivers Edge is quite incredible. He's been involved in maybe 2 for his whole entire years of being there, and the way that it's handled, it allows other students to be a part of not recreating the problem over and over and over and over again. Where in other middle schools, we see that the problems just keep staying persistent and consistent because I don't know if there's restorative justice in other buildings. I can't speak to that. But I will say that I do enjoy Rivers Edge. I would love to have him in 8th grade. And if 9th grade, I see a school that is showing potential of growth when it comes to academics, pushing him academically and getting him to college, because that's where he's going. And one thing, though, about Rivers Edge that I would like to add is that I wish that he had more options when it comes to athletics. A lot of them went to Stivers. He loves art, he loves music, but that's not a choice that he wanted to make. But a lot of them I felt were pushed to make that choice at Stivers because they didn't want to go anywhere else. And if we can get that to a high school level, I would definitely stay with DPS. I'm a product of DPS, and I hope that what I said is helpful. I hope that it doesn't have a hindrance, and I am very thankful for even the thought of it. Didn't even know that it was going to be. It just popped up and said 7th grade at Rivers Edge, and I was very happy to see that, to keep him here. So thank you for letting me speak. I appreciate it.
My name is Steve Lucky, and Keelan Lucky is my son, and this is his first year in 7th grade. And the Montessori came at the last moment, but the school for him, I've seen growth, I've seen independence. Certain things that he's learning, and he's excited about going. You know what I'm saying? We had a teachers conference. He was doing some things that he shouldn't have been done. We addressed it. We were not attacking you, but he got better at it. And I feel like I made a good choice. I had some help getting him in there, and I appreciate the help. And I ain't got nothing but great things to say about it. And I look forward to him advancing. If 8th grade is available, I hope he's able to attend that as well. All right.
Thank you.
So I'm going to wrap up our presentation. We went a little bit longer, but I just want to thank my community, my families, and scholars who came out tonight, and staff who came out tonight to share the things that are going on at Rivers Edge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we move, do any board members have comments?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
Okay, so I was a no vote on Rivers Edge getting 7th grade, and my reason for it was because the response that we got was that students that are not Rivers Edge students would not have the opportunity to go to Rivers Edge for 7th grade. So it is good to see that there are students who were not 6th graders there that now attend, but I'm curious of how did that happen when we were told something different?
We didn't say that.
Judy Spurlock came to the mic and said that the last time that we had a meeting.
We didn't say that.
I'll get you the public record of it, sir.
They shifted. We're happy that you did it.
To be clear, if that is going to be the thing for 8th grade, that students outside of Rivers Edge will have the opportunity, hopefully that is advertised to parents to have that opportunity. I do like the model and everything that is going on. Me personally, I wish that that was at other middle schools as well. I think a lot of our students deserve those same opportunities because we have students who struggle with things that may need those restorative circles. A question for me is, classroom space. How will 8th grade function when I believe it was 2 classrooms available for 7th grade? So is there now 2 available for 8th grade?
So we'll still be going with the same model of integrated with the 2 grade levels. So currently this class is, we're at 29. So we'll add the additional the amount of kids to that, and it will be split. So 7th and 8th graders will be integrated together.
In those 2 classes?
Yeah, yeah. So we don't, the plan isn't to separate them out. It's to continue with the philosophy of getting them to work independently and on what they need to work on.
Okay. Have you had any parents that are still interested in attending Rivers Edge for 7th grade?
I think we got pretty much everybody in that was interested in it, as far as interest goes. But I will say, coming in for 7th grade this next year, I've had families tell me that they were relieved and excited for the opportunity to continue on. And I have had families ask questions specifically about if they don't go to Stivers right now, will they be able to go to Stivers? Those are the type of questions that have came up. But the families have a lot of siblings that are in the building, that are currently have 7th graders in the building, and they're asking questions about future and it being built up.
Can I ask, where did the restorative circles philosophy come from?
Well, it's a practice that's across the district, but I will say it is near and dear to my heart because I was a teacher, first-year teacher under Lisa Miner, and I learned from her back in 2009 about restorative practices and building the culture of the building. So my training and where it's been carried out from for me is from Lisa Miner. And then also my assistant was a PSC coach. So it makes a huge difference to have those, and also being from middle school, we knew the importance of nipping things and moving forward with them and learning from them.
And then last question for me. The current 7th graders, are they integrated in other classes for electives, or are they still separate 7th graders?
They're separate 7th graders, but next year there'll be more options. So we only gave 2 options for each semester this year because of the numbers. It wouldn't be like staff-wise considering what we need to do. So the goal is for the 8th grade to be integrated and them to have like the next, so if they were in STEAM Studio, it's not going to be in the same cycle of what they did this year. It would be something different if they elected for that. But we've been throwing around some other things and thinking about some other things as well to expand. One of the things we know we are going to have is algebra next year, as well as we are looking at health and Spanish possibly. And offering those as options. But right now, with the 4 we have, kids have only experienced, because they're semester classes, they've only experienced 2. Well, they'll experience 2 this year.
Okay, I had another one. I'm sorry.
Wait, you gotta give somebody else a chance, man.
I got 3 minutes, ain't that what you say?
No,
Last
I did.
last question.
I did. Like,
Last question,
everybody else
because
has
I'm
one?
curious, we're adding CTE pathways at every other middle school. Is there an available at Rivers Edge, or how does that work?
So that is where the intentionality came in for STEAM Studio. We don't currently have Project Lead the Way classes. So the business class, agriculture, and all of that is not offered at Rivers Edge. But what I can say is we have been planning intentionally. So in Montessori, you have microeconomies. And so one of the things that we are working towards is being able to start a garden, or it's also a huge philosophy of Montessori to work like the land technically. And so we've been talking about for next year, how do we build that microeconomy through agriculture specifically. But with that being said, currently we do not have Project Lead the Way offered or any of the other pathways offered. They're just getting exposed to it through the typical philosophy.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Wood?
Well, thank you for this wonderful presentation tonight. Thank you, your students and everybody that came out. We have oftentimes said, like, look, I'm a Montessori advocate. I have my kids in Montessori when they were 2 years old. And people will say that Montessori is not for everyone. I disagree with that. I think the philosophy that Montessori education builds within individuality is so important to all of us. And especially it's 2025. Kids aren't learning the same way anymore. Maria Montessori knew a long time ago how kids and humans really learned. And this philosophy of education really works for everyone if it's implemented well and I applaud you for the work that you're doing at REM.
Thank you.
When I came on board at Dayton Public Schools, we had 2 Montessori schools, Franklin Montessori and Horace Mann, and Franklin became Rivers Edge. And I remember when Deborah Brathwaite was the associate superintendent, and we did a Montessori summit at Jackson Center, like really exposing what that means to parents as we teach our children in the ways that we want them to learn today. So I'm an outgoing board member, but I would encourage the district and our parents and what you're hearing tonight, and our 7th graders who are really stepping up into this opportunity of education to explore this individuality of education, because that's really what it does. It like, when I was a kid growing up in school, we had SRAs, and that like put us in these individual pods of how we learn and what we do, and we cultivate into these education models that like, you know, we move people along in pods, and it really is individual. So I'm so happy to have been a part of this and the growth that you are exemplifying here, and I encourage the district and all our leaders to continue to go on with it. So I'm a fan of Montessori's for everybody. We just have to like put it in the right places, in the right spaces. So thank you for the work.
Yes, and that's the biggest thing. It has to be very intentional, and people truly have to embody what the philosophy is.
Yes. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other board members?
I do.
Go ahead.
I just have something really short to say. I just wanted to say that hearing from the students really did make me feel, it made me feel good, honestly, because I'm an E.J. Brown student. I'm a Charity Adams student and then an E.J. Brown and now opponent student. Everybody in this room knows all my problems that I had in 8th grade. I was not picture perfect at all. I wish I had certain things that you talked about that's at Rivers Edge at EJ. I probably wouldn't have gotten to half the things I got into, honestly. But hearing how other children my age can learn different than I did, it really does make me feel good. And it makes me feel good to see and hear how our education is changing in a positive way. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming out. We do appreciate the update. Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
All right, I was waiting for everybody to get done with Principal Northcutt, because mine are more towards Dr. Lawrence, so appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're good. For me, my thing is, when I look at all of this, the first thing that comes to mind is everywhere else in the district. So, when we first had this discussion, my biggest concern was that we at times focus on some of our bright lights and we let the lights dim out in other spaces in our district. I look right here and I love seeing parents and children come out and speak on behalf of their schools in this planned format, in this speaking about the great things going on at Rivers Edge. I can honestly say I've never seen that happen where we invited E.J. Brown to come out and talk about what's going on in E.J. Brown. We've never had parents come out from Wagaman to speak about Wagaman. We've never had parents and students come out to speak about the things at Wright Brothers. That is what I want us to focus on, is how do we move the same things? Because while we may say Montessori isn't for people, and then I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, because anybody that really wants to look up, they can go find that Miss Montessori had a lot of racist beliefs at the same time, because that was a lot of things that was going on then. She also called her students savages and barbarians, because that is where things come from. And that's why I always want to remind us there's so much that goes on. While Montessori may not be the path at Wright Brothers or at Wagaman or at E.J. Brown, you can have project-based learning. You can promote socio-emotional learning. And so I want us to take the great things that we just heard and see how do we translate these things to other buildings, because I cannot get away from the fact that part of us doing this was also in the presentation we heard, was that parents weren't going to have their children be in Dayton Public if this wasn't available, which screams loud and clear, we're not doing the same things in other buildings in Dayton Public Schools. That is bothersome to me. And I think that we should all look internally and think, what are we not doing? If we can have a parent say, you know what, I don't know if I'll have my kid be in Dayton Public Schools. I am a parent who had their child at Rivers Edge. When we went to the meeting, because then Rivers Edge went to 6th grade, In the meeting at River's Edge, in the cafeteria, it was stated, if your child does not get into Stivers, you can go to DECA or the STEM school. At no point did anyone say River's Edge to Wagaman, River's Edge to Wright Brothers, River's Edge to E.J. Brown. And we just heard two different parents say the same thing, that if this wasn't here, they wouldn't be here. And so I want us to take these things, and while I encourage and love all the things I saw today, I want us to really reflect on how do we take out these pieces? How do we make the children at E.J. Brown's parents feel the same way? How do we make the staff feel the same way? How do we make people feel safer in these buildings? Because then if you hear it, people don't know still if they will go from River's Edge 8th grade to Dayton Public Schools. So what are we doing to ease that transition? So I always think back on what is the crux of the issue. And the crux of the issue goes to something that I have said for multiple years in being here, is how are we providing the same kind of experiences, even if they're not the same walks? How are we getting that same return? How are we getting parents to love being in these same spaces across the district? Because that is how we're going to move this whole piece. And I would love for our buildings to have some of the same autonomy as you see in some of these other buildings. Because right now, there's a pathway. People go to River's Edge and they go to Stivers. And if that pathway gets interrupted, they are not here. And that is a troubling thing for our district, because it robs our families of the great families that are at River's Edge. It robs our families in our middle schools of the great students, of the great people, of the experiences they can have. When you walk into our elementary schools, the level of diversity of households is so drastically different than when you walk into a high school, which means at some point we're losing these families. We're losing them to people who have the ability to take their child and put them in a private school. Because for a lot of our children, that is not a possibility unless they use a voucher and unless they are lucky enough to get that. And so that is what I want to hammer home, and that is why I wanted to wait, because it had nothing to do with what's going on over at River's Edge, because I love it. My child went to River's Edge. I love it, and it was needed for them. But if we do not take that and take what we just heard and figure out how can we pull from that greatness and put it in each and every building at Dayton Public Schools, we will be doing our families and our children a disservice. That's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you. So now I'll say thank you guys for coming out. Do appreciate a different type of presentation than we've seen in a while. It was very good to see the students and the parents and to hear some of the feedback that you've given us on this school. I will echo Mr. Board Member Smith here. I do think that we now have, this will be our second success story, because Charity Adams was our first of this group's iteration of us going from K through 8 here, and that school is going pretty well. And now we're hearing within the first quarter of us having a 7th grade program at River's Edge, it is starting off well here. It doesn't take away from us building up, because we know we still have challenges at our other middle schools. I mean, class size is one thing. I heard these classes have 39 kids in them. That's significantly different than.
19.
I thought it was 30-something.
I saw 19.
How many kids in the school? 29, sorry.
10 off of each
We
other.
was both off. We have 39 somewhere, but that piece of it there, so to hear that piece, I think is really good. And I do think I'm gonna continue to challenge not only Dr. Lawrence, but the team under Dr. Lawrence with this trend, how we are moving through it. Because I believe you guys are proposing some other schools to going up to the 7th grade for us to see how that works, which I applaud you guys on testing a concept first, which is something significantly different than our district has had a history of doing, of seeing how it works. And that may give some of the relief that you're speaking of, Mr. Smith, if we are getting smaller classrooms where we continue to have families pulled in with us while we continue to figure out our 3 standalone schools, what that looks like. I don't know the future of them, but I do know that you guys are giving us proposals. So I do hope that, actually not hope, I know that we're gonna get to hear at our board retreat from principals in general of some of the things that we are seeing it out there. But I do believe we'll get more data. We're only in the first quarter though. So thank you guys for that piece of it. Go ahead, Dr. Lawrence.
Dr. Gilmore, thanks for bringing up Charity Adams, because that was the first iteration for us. I think it's of note when you look at the MAP assessments and OST that 7th and now 8th grade, one of the highest performing 7th and 8th grade groups in the district. We also in the spring, asked several schools, many elementaries across the district, if their parents were interested in extending to K-8 outside of not just Charity, not just Rivers Edge. And we got resounding feedback, 3-1, that in fact parents want to see their kids stay in a K-8 environment. We will be submitting proposals to the board that are versions of K-8, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and maybe, again, other conversions around schools and other consolidations in terms of grades. And so that's our job. We're working through that process. Board Member Smith is the chair of the School Programming and Curriculum Committee, which is where we bring a lot of these ideas to discuss them with board members. So we believe the same thing. We're working toward that goal. Can't get there overnight, but we're getting there.
Thank you. Moving on, hearing of the bargaining units. Anyone want to speak?
Can I ask for a copy of the data that Dr. Lawrence is referencing?
Can he get him a copy of the data?
I think I've sent it, but an update, but no
I wouldn't
worries.
ask for it if I've seen it, but I appreciate you sending it.
Okay.
Appreciate
Hey,
it.
where is Conrad here?
Any data.
1 second. Okay,
Yeah.
let me finish this right
I'm
here.
sorry.
No, you good. You stay right there.
You,
So,
hey, Keisha, can you have them send that to the full, all the map data to the full board? Yep. Yep.
all right. Let's go ahead and pull it back to you now. Floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Hello, my name is Tara Bentley. I am the staff rep for ASPE. I am here because the HR department is asking for termination of SRO Bruce Hobbs without just cause and meeting any progressive discipline, and that should be concerning for everyone. The incident being used against him was not excessive force, it was a measured response. And the assistant principal and the principal were there during the incident. Neither one of them raised any objection or concerns. Their silence in this moment matters, and it tells a different story than the one HR is pushing. What we are seeing is a pattern of overly aggressive action from HR towards the SROs. This is not fairness, this is not due process, and this is not progressive discipline. And it does not meet the standard requirement under the collective bargaining agreement. The termination demands a clear and compelling evidence. That evidence simply does not exist here. I'm asking the board to step back, look at the facts, make sure this process is free from bias. Do not let a good SRO officer lose his career over an investigation that has not met the standards. The SROs play a very important role in the schools, and they are needed. And today we have SROs back in the back, standing in solidarity for Mr. Hobbs, and we're just asking that you look over everything and give him due process and fairly. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, hearing from the public. Madam Treasurer, do we have anyone signed up today?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Walker will serve as our timekeeper. You have 3 minutes. It is inappropriate to address any matter involving pending disputes, grievances under a labor agreement, disciplinary action involving an employee or a student, ongoing labor negotiations, concerns or matters that have already been settled or any matter which, because of its nature, is deemed appropriate to be discussed in executive session. May we have the first speaker?
Tia Lovehart. Tia Lovehart. Marqueta Rowan.
Good evening. Good evening, Dr. Goodwine, Dr. Lawrence, Superintendent Dr. Lawrence, and all the board members. So I am here tonight, slightly nervous and hungry, but I am here on behalf of Bruce Hobson. We affectionately call him Hob. So I had written kind of a long statement, but I understand I have only 3 minutes. And so on my ride here, once I got here, I realized, let me shorten it. So I made it very, very short. Hobson is a force. He is a really affectionate, kind, compassionate man. I couldn't quite put into words what I thought about him as a coworker. Even though he is our SRO, he is there to protect us. I likened him to my father. And so I wrote, my father carried weight. When he stepped into a room, his presence mattered. People changed. Much like children, he carried weight. He did all things that were right, and we felt safe. Our building felt safe. The staff felt safe. We miss him, and the children, most importantly, they miss him. I pray that all goes well, but please know that we miss him. And we need him. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker?
Daria Rayner.
Hello, my name is Daria Renner, and I serve as the School Resource Officer at Edwin Joel Brown. I'm here to speak on behalf of Officer Bruce Hobson. Officer Hobson truly embodies the spirit of the community. He is one of the most hardworking, compassionate, and dedicated individual I have ever had the privilege working alongside. Over the past 3 years, I have witnessed firsthand how deeply he cares for our students, staff, and our community. He constantly goes above and beyond to ensure the safety and well-being of everyone around him. Having grown up in the community, Officer Hobson has built a stronger, genuine connection with many of our students and their families, often knowing parents and even grandparents on a personal level. This connection allows him to reach our students in ways few others can. He understands their struggles, their environment, and their potential because he walked in their shoes. Since his absence, things have not been the same. The students feel it, the staff feel it, and the overall atmosphere has changed. I'll close with a quote by Maya Angelou that reminds me of Officer Hobson's impact. I did then what I knew how to do. Now that I know better, I do better. Officer Hobson has always strived to help others do better, and our community is stronger because of him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm supposed to be timing.
Our next speaker?
That concludes tonight's speakers.
Thank you. Dr. Lawrence, your first recommendation.
First recommendation is invocation of a 48-hour waiver for a vote.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Mr. Lacy, second by Dr. Bailey. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote? Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
President
Hold on
Goodwin.
1 second. Mr. Smith had his question. Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
For the whole agenda, right?
Yes, for all the 48-hour waiver agenda items B, C, D, E, and F. Thank you, Ms. Smith.
All right. All right, any other questions? Go ahead, Ms. Ryder.
Madam President, would you just explain to the public why we have so many 48-hour waiver votes at this time in our meetings this month, just in case anybody is not aware?
There is a combination of error from our office of some items that didn't get put on in time. These items, 48-hour waiver usually means that it was not put up at least 48 hours before we voted on some things. Several of these items were missed by our staff, and they're on here. One of these items are from, and contracts under the superintendent are from the federal level, of which they didn't get the notification of it until after we put the agenda out. And in the treasurer's department, there were some things that came about after they put this on that they brought forward for us today. So, and those individuals can explain those better when we get to those to vote what those new items are.
And is this also related to, we're just having one meeting this month? Is that correct?
That is, maybe, I don't know, they may bring other stuff, so we may still, we held the date.
Okay.
It may come
All
back.
right. Thank you.
Did you say something, Mr. Walker?
No, I was going to say, we still would have to prove if we're not going to meet next week.
All right, any other questions on the 48-hour waiver? All right, seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy.
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Ms. Woods.
Yes.
7 yeses.
All right, Dr. Lawrence, your next recommendation?
My next recommendation is 48-hour waiver for contracts under the superintendent for vote.
You already did that, sir. You did a B, C, D, E, and
Oh, so
F.
you took them off?
That's just us accepting.
No, I thought
Yeah,
that was
that's
just
not
48-hour
Oh,
waiver.
okay.
Yeah.
That's just accepting the waiver. That's not accepting the vote on
Go
it.
ahead.
So yeah, contracts under superintendent for a vote, 48-hour waiver under B.
So moved.
Point of,
Can we do
point of
which one?
information.
Yes.
I thought that the 48-hour waiver that we did, A, had all of them listed.
I'm sorry, Boardman Walker, can you?
Yeah, all of them under A had all of the 48-hour waivers listed. So
Yes.
now we're on your superintendent personnel agenda.
No, the 48-hour waiver is to accept the 48-hour waiver. After accepting a 48-hour waiver, you then have to accept what the 48-hour waiver was used to present.
That's not, yeah, that's not right.
Right,
Yeah.
so this is going to be in it.
The contracts that were approved in item 4B would then appear in the superintendent's contracts.
That is okay.
Yeah.
So all of these are then moving down the line.
Correct.
Okay.
We just did all of them at once. So we're just on superintendent's personnel agenda.
Correct. We're down
Okay.
to 5.
All right, got it.
All right.
Thank you, Boardman Walker. Superintendent's personnel agenda for a vote.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Wick, second by Dr. Bailey. There is one item I need to pull till after exec session, and that'll be C19. And while you guys are looking, any questions on the motion?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
I would like to pull B4 for after executive session. I would like to pull C6 until after executive session. I would like to, can I find it?
Before C6.
Mhm. No, it is
It was D4, I thought you said.
B4.
B4.
C6.
It's like a
Bingo.
bingo game.
And, nah, I don't see it on here anymore, so I'm good.
And President Goodwin, that was A through G.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right, any other questions or pulled items? Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
For starters, I want to pull D14 till after executive.
You said D14?
Yes.
D
D as in David.
D is in David.
D as in David, 14.
Okay. 1 second. Madam Treasurer, you got all these numbers. I just want to make sure you keep it up with them. All the ones they stated.
C6, D14, B4.
Is that correct?
Is that-
B4?
Yes.
Okay, anything, go ahead, Mr. Walker.
There are a number of items on here with past dates, as in last year and years before. Why are they just now coming before us?
All right, which team would you like to come up? HR or the department?
There's,
Or do you know who it's for?
I mean, they're under, like, almost everyone has dates of previous meeting dates.
Okay.
And
Dr.
there's-
Davis?
I mean, one, supplementals by themselves. I mean, F33 through F117 is all one building. With the date of October 15th, certified appointments have previous dates of August.
Oh, I can take that one. I know they have it for the supplementals. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Hi.
In regards to the items that have previous dates from previous years, as we were cleaning up Business Plus system, there are several staff members that are still active who are no longer with the district. And in order for the payroll department and the treasurer's office to clear them out, they needed them to appear on the agenda. And so that's why we placed them on there, so we can continue cleaning up the system. In regards to the supplementals, those were pulled when they were originally placed due to funding issues. We have worked with the treasurer's office to identify the funding for that building, and so that building was now placed back on the agenda.
Okay, and the ones that are dating back this school year from August to now,
Could you give me an example of which one you're referring to?
under administrative, that would have been, yeah, B4 is pulled, but that has a date of October 1st. We can discuss that one in exec. Under C1 has a date of August 20th. Then it's October 16th, October 10th. Under D, October 3rd. And these are the ones that were cleaned up from the past years of D1 through D13. On E14 has a date of August 22nd. Has a date E2 of August 1st. On
You said
F-
E, what was the first E you had?
14.
Okay, thanks.
On F11, has dates all the way back to July. And then one doesn't have a date, it just says first quarter. I'm sorry, 5 of them say first quarter. And then under athletics, there's one for athletics as well, that has a date of September.
All of the resignations that have the previous dates are the ones that we were cleaning up. And so we found that we were not notified of some, so we put them on there as soon as we were notified. And those are the ones that you see, like the October 1st dates and things like that. For the athletic ones, I'm not exactly sure either. Chief Jones can come up and speak to those.
And then just to clean up on G22 and G23, the date says 206.
G22 and G23?
Yeah, it says February 16th, 206 for both of those. I think it just has that extra 0 in it. Like instead of year 26, it just says 206. It was G22 and G23. And then G20 and G26 has dates of September.
So with G20, we had an error with our AD who got his coaches mixed up. Once payment went out, it was brought to my attention, so we wanted to make sure we corrected. So the coach that actually did the work got paid. And then G26 was the coach that they thought was supposed to get the payment. So that's the confusion with that. Since then, we have did the appropriate reprimand to that athletic director.
So did that coach still get paid that wasn't supposed to?
The coach that wasn't supposed to get paid did receive a payment. We worked with David with the treasurer's office to hunt down that payment, and we have a resolve with that. And the coach that needs to get paid is on the board today, so she can receive a payment.
But
So oversight on administrator.
okay, from September to now, it was caught.
Well, once the payment took place, because they just got a payment, that's when it was discovered.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, they know they paid by a lump sum.
I get that. What I struggle with is, we've had this practice of people not starting work until things are boarded or background checks and stuff on file. And if this person was coaching and was already boarded, I don't understand it too. That's something we can discuss later, but I just,
Yeah, well, with our volunteer coaches, they also do the same credentials. The only difference between a board-approved one and a volunteer is one gets paid, one does not. And there was a transition with that coach that she was no longer going to be the coach, and the message did not get to Ms. Tolliver to process. So we have the chain of emails, and it only came about because a payment took place. Then it was brought to my attention, and we wanted to make sure that we correct the situation.
okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Oh,
Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
who's keeping a list of what we pulled so I can make sure I don't say one that's already been done?
Madam Treasurer, can you give back the list of pulled items, please?
Okay. B4,
B4?
B14, C6.
I didn't hear that second one, Madam Treasurer.
C6,
B4, C6,
D14,
D14, and C19. Okay.
C19.
Yep, I think that was the only other one I was about to have questions about.
Yeah, not necessarily a question. I do want to thank the individuals on here for their service to Dayton Public Schools, and happy retirement to those individuals. I see Coach White is on here and Mr. Dave Johnson. I went to see him today, and he's excited about his retirement, but he said he's coming back, Chief. I don't know how that's going to work, but he's waiting on you. But appreciate all of you all for your service to Dayton Public Schools and over the many, many years of you working through the interesting parts of education. So thank you.
Boss man, boss man.
All right, no other questions? Madam Treasurer, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yeah.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Ms. Woods.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Your next recommendation?
Recommendation to approve the following after July 10th resignations.
Is there a motion?
Second,
Which one of you guys so moved it?
Mr. Lacy.
Mr. Lacy, Mr. Walker, for the second. Any questions on the motion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Can we have information regarding the KQ Communications?
You want to say?
We're on contracts, right?
No, we're on H.
No, H.
Oh,
After
Oh,
July.
oh, that's one I vote yes on. Okay, my bad. We
Okay.
No worries. But since you asked, that was sent this morning by Lisa Minor, the KQ Communications.
All right, seeing no questions, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
No.
Dr. Bailey,
No.
Mr. Lacy,
No.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
No.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
No.
Ms. Woods.
No.
5 no, 2 yeses.
Thank you. Any questions on budget information? All right, Dr. Lawrence, your next recommendation for a vote?
Next recommendation for a vote is contracts underneath the superintendent. Recommendations A.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Lacy, second by Dr. Bailey. Mr. Walker, you still have a question?
I do. Is this possible to get pulled into the retreat? Or if we meet next week? I mean, the information that Ms. Minor sent is good and all, but this doesn't tell me exactly what are they actually going to be doing for $34,000.
Ms. Minor, would you like to speak on it? Which they still can, you can ask anybody questions on that piece of it right now.
Yeah, they are a marketing firm that will help us to promote our new innovative academies of the Dayton Public Schools, communicate mainly through digital marketing, in addition to other ways that they're going to promote it when we get close to the designation day to make sure the message is out there. And so they helped us with summer promotion. One of the goals we told them is we'd like to promote it to families to come to the district and to new teachers to come to the district because we have a new way of teaching. That's one of the initiatives with the Innovative Academies at Dayton Public Schools is transforming teaching and learning. And we want to get that message out there so any veteran teachers or new teachers fresh out of college will choose Dayton Public Schools to come to work in a team. So they've got specific instructions on how to promote that.
So how is this contract different than the other ones that we've approved to do the same thing, or the one that we rescinded because it was not working?
Well, I know you did use KQ over the summer, and they were able to bring, it was successful in promoting people to come and apply for the district. So we used that data and then what they presented for the second time to bring them in. Because their work was successful for us this summer, so we wanted to make sure the next initiative to really make sure we have all the teachers we need and the messages out there to come to Dayton Public Schools.
So with their work this past summer, how many teachers did they help bring into the district?
There were several, it was in June, so there were several teachers. I'd have to ask HR exactly how many they hired from there. But as far as the connections and the links and the activity on social media and through the website, there was a lot of activity, and that's what we looked at.
So this is
People-
based upon social media marketing for people to apply and come and work at Dayton Public Schools?
Social media and all the online hits were there, going to the website as well.
They also went out and did focus groups, so they went out and interviewed teachers to ask them why they stayed in Dayton Public Schools and or why they were thinking about leaving. They went out to interview parents and kids. So they spent a lot of time on the field doing baseline information. And Board Member Walker, I think it was 14, I believe, in terms of teachers, but I have to check from that virtual fair. I have to look at that. I sent it to, listen, I'll look it up right now.
I'll say, yeah, the presentation says 20 certified teachers registered, 14 uncertified teachers registered, 4 attended. So I'm just curious of what numbers, if you can forward me the data for this to actually see what took place, I'm not supporting it because I don't know what $34,000 is going to do for us if there's no data to show, like, to us what it's actually done so far. So, but I appreciate you all bringing it to us.
No problem.
Sure.
Would you like to pull that one for a separate vote?
Yes.
Okay. All right, any other questions on contract?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Along the lines of this, and it's more so about what struck me when I saw the information that was given from this vendor, is that even from their information that they got back, less than 50%, 49% to be exact, said they were planning to keep their child at DPS, which I would like to raise that up and say, that is a huge thing. It's half of these people who took this said that they would plan to keep their children here. So with this work, I want to also see what are we going to do to change the outcome. Because I think getting people here is one thing, keeping them here is another thing. And as we have seen, we don't always do a great job of keeping people or letting people felt that they are respected in the roles that they are in, or giving people that ability to do their jobs when we bring them in, or do the jobs that they were given when they come in. So I think there's one piece, while I do appreciate the need for recruitment, I think giving people the transparency on the flip side once we get them in is huge. And I would love to see how can groups like this collaborate with your groups and the rest of this district to see how can we talk about that? How can we show that? How can we promote that? Because that is an alarming thing for any data to come back and say that half of the people that took it almost would say that they are not sure that they can keep their children here. And I would say, from some of the things we've seen, I would want us to do a better job at also retaining staff, and not just retaining them and staying in their roles, because sometimes people stay in their roles because they have to have the job. But staying in their roles and being engaged and waking up every day and saying, I work for someone that values me. That's all. Thank you.
Can I?
Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
So, okay, I'm looking at this areas of concern. 39% teachers' top concerns is bullying, discipline concerns. 26 is communication. 25% is school safety. Families' top concerns, 7% student behavior, 58% workload and burnout, communication and transparency, 37%. How is this being addressed?
Well, we do analyze the data, and our goal is to improve the culture and to make sure we're using it to improve, and not only for our staff, retention of staff and students. And we've done quite a bit since that information. We've had specialized training for our clericals at the buildings, because they're the face that you see. And we have different retention strategies that we're using that has been effective. The complaint calls to central services, where it used to be quite a few from certain buildings, that's gone down substantially. And our goal is to also improve in the relationship building amongst staff, so they do want to stay in Dayton Public Schools and are appreciated for our families and our staff. That's very important.
So I appreciate that.
Yes, may I jump in for one second?
Absolutely.
Thank you for your question. I want to just say, it just popped in my head. I see President Mahoney out there. He sits in our district leadership team, and he is not just there, he's an active member, and he represents over 1,000 members, and he gives us all type of feedback to either corroborate, substantiate, or give us other ideas around how to address the data that you saw.
So the 39% that are saying bullying, discipline are concerns, how is that being addressed from teachers?
Addressed from teachers?
Yeah, I mean, for like this same group said one of the areas of concerns through their work.
Yeah, I think conversations addressing it, we go out often and address it with administrators to see how can we make it better, listening, being available to the staff, and trying to work through those problems. We don't want any staff member to feel as if they're bullied or harassed, because we know you're not going to be a productive worker if you're feeling threatened. So that's very important to address.
Okay.
That we definitely acknowledge that.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes.
Seeing none, go ahead.
Not on that one. On the UD one, the graduations, the contract that we signed with UD is supposed to be $3,000 per graduation. And the contract for this one, we have 7 graduations, right?
That's correct.
So are we being charged per graduation or per day that this is being utilized?
It's up about 22,000. I can get the specific, it's up about 1,000 from 22,000, so it's at 23,152 now. I can find out if that's inflation. I can find out if we're being charged more for practice, because we do go there and practice, so I can find out what that $1,000 difference is.
Thank you. And then my next part of that is also in the agreement that we signed, University of Dayton is supposed to pay the district $10,000 per football game that they have. Is that happening?
That's a treasurer question.
Chief AD said yes. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions, Mr. Walker?
Nope.
Anybody else, any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Seeing none, let me have a vote on everything except for K-12.
KQ.
KQ. Wrong
There is a
group, my
K-12.
bad. There is a
There's a K-12.
K-12.
Freudian slip.
KQ.
Communication.
Yes.
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Ms. Woods.
Yes.
7 yeses.
May we have a vote on the KQ communication?
Okay. President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
No.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Ms. Woods.
Yes.
6 yeses, 1 no.
Your next recommendation?
That's a good one. I'd like for a vote, consultant services, item B.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Lacy, second by Dr. Bailey. Questions on the motion?
Is Richard Douglas Stock, PhD, is it an individual or a company?
It's an individual, and he's been doing it for as an external evaluator for years.
And Fund 509 is
What?
Grants.
grants, okay.
Well, yeah, yes, that's right.
Federal grants, okay, that's all I have.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
How was this person selected, Dr. Lawrence?
So the University of Dayton is the research umbrella, and we worked with them, and he's the person that they select.
Okay, and then to follow up, what are we trying to have him look at, and what would be the next steps? Because no, Dr. Stock does a lot of work around data, compiling data, but assessing the data that is coming out of this, what would be that next step? Because having him evaluate this in what way? Are we evaluating are we providing services at a solid level? Are we seeing a return on the services? Like, what would be the goal after having him look at this data?
So because they're federal grant funded, I mean, their metrics are the same and the framework's the same. And he writes an evaluated report at the end. And then we use that report to determine if we move forward and continue in that space. In fact, I think by law, we have to have that to substantiate the 21st century programming. So I think you're asking, what do we do if it doesn't work? We pivot and don't use it.
What I'm really then asking is, how would we know that he would be the one to be able to tell us that it does not work? Does he work? He does not work in the K-12 space, correct?
No, he does. He is not working in the K-12 space, but he's a researcher.
Right. So I'm saying,
It's
with what he
psychometrician.
would bring back to us, who on your team would be working with him to evaluate that? I can have someone on the outside evaluate data. It does not give me the ability on the outside to want to say this is working or not working if I am not someone experienced in that space. I will feel much more comfortable having him give his expertise as someone who compiles and looks at the data at that evaluation space. I would be more comfortable if he was working with someone on our side who can actually come in and say what this data truly means as it relates to the K-12 space that we are working in. So that's what I'm asking is, what is the plan when we get this? Is it we're just going to look at it as a yay or nay, or are we looking at this data and evaluating it with our side to actually look into it? Because if we are not, then I would not be comfortable just having someone from UD compile data and then tell us yay or nay, is it working or not?
The core academic team, we look at it too. The core academic team, it consists of a chief academic officer, the chief of elementary, which is where the 21st century programming is, associate superintendent, accountability and assessment, myself. We all look at the data, and we look at it from a quantitative and qualitative space. Then we align it and look at those kids to see if we see any growth during the school year with MAP testing, OST testing. So we don't just take that data and have a binary conversation around it. We actually talk about it comprehensively.
Thank you. That's all I was asking for.
No problem at all. Anything for you, brother.
All right, any other questions on the motion?
Is this the same?
Same one. We still the same one. We still make this up. Seeing none, Madam Treasurer, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes?
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Ms. Woods.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Mr. Walker has a question.
Dr. Lawrence or Ms. Kincaid, I missed this, so it's already approved. I'm just curious, we paid last year for a website redesign and everything like that, so now we're paying for somebody else to do the same thing, or is?
I can talk a little bit to that. So with the transformation to our academy model, and Ms. Minor can maybe speak more about this if you have more questions, really the image of our district needs to change as well. And we've talked with Ford NGL a lot about that. Akron has done it, all the other districts who have gone through this process have sort of rebranded to have a new face in the community. And so they're going to be doing that work to redesign our brand, essentially. And the goal is to eventually redesign all the schools as well so that we have a cohesive brand, recognizable in the community. Right now, if you look at all our school logos, you can't really tell they go together. You can't tell they fit under one umbrella of Dayton Public Schools. And so that's our ultimate goal. But with the logo redesign for this one, we're just starting with Dayton Publics, and we're definitely going to keep many of the same elements we already have in our brand. Our color palette, we're thinking the sun needs to stay, but it's just going to be a refreshed look to help with this process. And with it, we're also going to get a redesigned letterhead template and newsletter templates.
So, okay. Ford NGL has given us a lot of stuff that you all are doing, but at what point does the board actually approve the stuff that you all are actually doing because Ford NGL is saying to do it?
What do you mean what we're doing?
So, like, we're waiting now on the destination to be approved, and I mean, the career pathways and things like that are still a part of stuff that the board has to approve for these buildings, right? So at what point with the work that we're doing with Ford NGL, even with this website design, because we just went through this process last year, we paid a lot of money.
It's not the website being redesigned. It's like the logo itself.
Okay, so even with the logos being redesigned, we just paid money for tents and things at all these buildings. So now we're going to redesign those and pay money again for a district that's going to be operating in the red in 3 years.
Well, for any signage updates, gym floor updates, all that stuff, we've already had a conversation about that because obviously we can't just replace those because they need to be replaced because of the logo. It would be on the same cycle that anything else would be updated in the building. So I forget the cycle Mr. Rayford gave us, but every, 10, 12 years, the gym floors get redone. That's how long we're going to wait to cycle through before you'll see the logos everywhere, because there is a discussion about being fiscally responsible here and not just replacing them because there's an update.
We definitely want to be fiscally responsible and want to be, hopefully in a retreat setting, go over the entire updates with our Next Generation Learning Initiative. Because we've gotten a lot done, but we want to make sure the board is clear on all of the programming and all of the proposals that we have for the schools, for the high schools. We're excited about it, but we really would love to have time to sit down and present and go through all of the pathways and the benefits that it's going to bring not only to our students and families, but the entire community.
Yeah, I just look at, to do this process is one thing, but there's a lot of components with each school that is going to cost more money when we do these type of things. So, I just was curious about it. Like I said, it was approved. I'm good with it, but I just was curious.
But we'd love to walk that through with you.
Absolutely.
Because we're looking at the finances as well. Now, we know that in some cases, it's going to bring certain pathways, bring money to the district. So we're looking at that too. But a time to come together with the board in a retreat where we can lay everything out and have a rich discussion would be greatly appreciated.
I want to thank you for your question because Dr. Jones and I have been talking about that too around what is real zero-based budgeting? Like, how do you really develop a budget that addresses your core academic criteria? And what do you spend money on, right? And what you don't. And so I'm glad you asked the question because our presentation around the Ford NGL is the pathways are important. The branding is important, but also the finances behind it are extremely important as well. And we want to be able to share all that with you in a comprehensive way so we can have a conversation.
I appreciate it.
Can I just ask the board, what's your thoughts on our logo, since we're talking about it right now? I hate for them to waste money and we don't even use what y'all do.
And Ms. Kincaid, you just created a new letterhead last year that sent out to the whole district as standards for the district.
The one before that was better.
Yeah.
Board Member Wick might remember, we've been talking about the logo redesign for a long time now. There are some really great examples of school districts where you can look at an elementary school logo, a middle school logo, or a high school logo, And it's the color palette, the fonts, the style of the graphic, and you can recognize that they all fit together, even though they're completely separate identities. Dayton Public doesn't have that. If I look at River's Edge logo and if I look at Dunbar's logo, if I've never seen them before, I can't connect the two. I can't tell that they fit together under one umbrella. And so that's the ultimate goal.
But
And-
can I ask, are you
Yeah.
from Dayton?
Not originally, no.
Okay. A typical Dayton person would know which logo belongs to which school, which mascot is which, because of the history with it. And I think if this is like something that we're going to go down a path on, I know that Ms. Minor and with this 40 and jail, there's different committees. I would like to see the community input with these before just
Yes,
like,
well,
typically erasing
whenever
history or
we
something
would
like
get
that.
to the school redesigns, for sure, there would be people coming in from.
Well, I mean, even for the district logo,
Mhm.
I mean, I can look back there and see the 2024 report card and know that the O is replaced with the Dayton Public Schools Sunshine logo. But that has been DPS. And I believe you just put branding out here on the windows as well with the logo on and some banners on the streetlight poles out there. I mean, so it's for me, it is actually wasteful spending to go back and continue to do this same work. It may be little dollars, but it's still dollars that this district is going to need in a few years.
Can we answer the question? How
Yeah,
y'all feel
I'm
about
sorry.
the logo? I was asking y'all.
District or
The
individual
district-
building?
The district is the only one we approved a second ago. It's on the district.
I mean, can't go back to the head with the school book, but that was fire.
That was a solid logo.
That was a fire logo, I'm telling you. That was fire.
I like the one we have now.
Yeah, I prefer the one we have now.
I mean, if
I
some,
know it's DPS when I see it.
you come with something dope though, you might have me. You might have me, you might get me. But I would say when we talk about the individual schools, I think it's a bigger thing
Yeah.
for like the high school. Like honestly, I can't even tell you what an elementary school logo usually looks like.
But maybe we could get to a point where you would know and you would recognize it. And like from a brand
Maybe.
perspective.
I'm gonna rock it anyway.
I mean, all the time we get questions. People don't know Stivers is part of our district. People don't know River's Edge is part of our district. People think we're DECA. All the time we get this confusion.
But I don't think that's a logo issue, and we can
No,
say
not
that for another
necessarily,
day.
no.
They don't
But I
think Stivers and Rivers Edge
I
are
think
Dayton
branding
Public
is an
'cause
important element that's
It's a
kind of.
whole different thing there.
Okay.
And I think even with the logos, right? We have a logo for a building, but I can go to Roosevelt now. Roosevelt is red, but their gym bleachers are purple. I mean, there's colors in these buildings that do not fit with the actual building. So, I mean, for me, it is, I think there's a lot of pieces that go in when we look at that side. The district logo,
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that, I don't know. For me, I'm fine with the current logo, but I would like to see what you bring back. It may change my mind, but I appreciate it.
So just know, it's a possibility you guys will go through this work, and we won't make a change at all. And that's pretty much what Mr. Walker is letting you know, so.
I don't think a change should be made if majority doesn't think anything is wrong. I feel like the high school, logo, thank you. The high school logos are perfect, especially Ponent's, you know. I'm a little biased, but Ponent's logo is perfect, Thurgood, perfect. I really like these new logos. DPS, I don't feel like anything is wrong with our current logo.
I don't want to get in the situation, that the Cracker Barrel got into, where they wasted all that money.
And had to go back.
To go back to what the logo was and that piece of it. So I would say, like you've heard some people up here say something specifically. I've heard the people who graduated from DPS do that piece, but before you guys can see what we fit in, you may want to.
I just want to say, that's why we're bringing on professionals. We're bringing on an organization that does this professionally. They've designed a lot of, they did Harrison Township, did they do Trotwood or?
Sorry, Harrison Township new logo. Harrison Township new logo is
Township
not
new logo?
good. Hey, it is, and Harrison Township has actually bad press right now behind that because of the change of it. But
Yes, really,
they did not.
people get real touchy when you change the
But
tradition.
I think, you know, Dr. Lawrence said this a few weeks ago, like a lot of this with board committees is opportunity to bring those up before bringing it fully for us to approve as a board. So then it's not just us being caught off guard when we see things like that. Because I think these are actual like conversations where I think a lot of our committees now as boards, we have individuals from the community on that. But you all do put out a lot of surveys. So that may be a survey to do to see like what's the temperature for things. But for me, I think it's a lot that goes into that because there's a lot of money that's been spent with the current logo on it that we would have to do all over again with this new one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Madam President, if I may.
Go ahead.
I would just like to state that I would like to see a redesign of the logo. And I think that branding and the elements that go into branding are, they're often invisible if you don't know what to look for, but it is a very, very powerful tool of communication. And I would welcome a discussion about this.
I would like to know what the projected enrollment increase you guys are seeking with this investment, because if there isn't like a new market that's coming from it, I mean, I want to see those projections of what you're saying the branding piece will do for us.
It goes in line with the transformation to the academy model, which I think Lisa can speak on better than I can.
No, I'm not on that part. I don't want y'all to take me down another path. I want to know the dollars and cents that you are projecting that will come to us. Yes, that's what I'm on. I got the story, I know the narrative. So
Yeah, we expect with new programming, it's definitely going to increase enrollment. We want waiting lists. We want waiting lists for teachers wanting to come and students wanting to come. We have seen an increase in the freshman classes at all of them, and we haven't even really,
You don't touch on that freshman class right now.
well, but we, yeah.
Let's pause.
Yeah, we're gonna leave that with them all.
Okay,
Some of
but.
our early data, and we got some changes to make.
Right, well, as far as increasing the number of students coming, that's what we're
So
seeing.
my question for you guys, like my request is similar to the marketing firm that you have with the other ones we have there. Most individuals give you projections of what our return, if we invested $14,000 on a logo redesign, what is that projected to bring us, or what type of new audience is that gathering for us? Those are my questions. Like, I hear the narrative part. I would like the business side of
See
it,
the
that gives
number
me
of
the projected dollars and
of
where they're
students
suspecting this
enrolling.
will come from, and how that would attract that type of person. I want to know who is the ideal audience that you're targeting this with. Like Ms. Kincaid stated, there is someone who looks at logos and they see that that's an elementary, that's a middle school, that's a high school, or something like that. It's something that attracts you to know it's something like that.
It's just the cohesion. You recognize they fit together.
I have never thought about that, I'm gonna tell you. That's why I want to know, who is that
It's sort of a
audience?
subliminal thing that happens.
Who is that audience that makes that? That's my question.
It's
I am
It's not-
somebody, and I'm telling you it's not me, so that's what I'm asking.
No,
Okay,
So I'm
can I just say,
I'm asking to get it on paper, what this is projected for us in that piece, and not just the narrative.
can I say that, I mean, whoever's telling you this, hopefully they are in the community, they know our schools, and not just one specific building. I think we have to, like, be mindful of who you are actually talking to, and I think we went down this before, even when we're trying to attract charter school students. We have to step out of the norm to get those students back to Dayton Public Schools. For me, it is, what is going to be our investment in this? If we change the logo now, are we sponsoring events that now have this on? Are we putting a new logo on RTA hubs? Are we saying that we're going to start advertising all over the place with this? Like, what is that actual investment going to cost outside of this $14,000? What is that projected investment? But then, to Dr. Goodwine's point, then what is our estimated return on that investment? And like I said, I think we have to talk to people who are actually in the weeds of things, in buildings, and actually know what's going on in the city of Dayton, Dayton Public Schools, to actually benefit from the work that you all are doing.
And
That's just my
I'm
two
looking at the SRO's jacket, like, all their jackets would be old news.
Literally, that's what we.
You have to put a patch over all those.
Hey, Chief Wright already got on us once about trying to get his budget for background checks, so we'll hear that later on.
Well, I appreciate the conversation. For the sake of brevity, which is, never my thing. I would say, I think as a parent, as a graduate, as a Dayton Board of Education member, as a forever my whole life I've lived here. I think the biggest thing for our brand is just how we do. Like, if you ask most people in Dayton about Dayton Public Schools, if they could pick higher scores or a different logo, none of them care about whatever logo we're gonna get. And that's just real to me. Like, and not saying I don't care, because I love rocking my Meadowdale stuff, and some of the old Meadowdale logos were trash, but Meadowdale to me was being International Baccalaureate, being a successful school, being a school that was highly rated. And I think we have way more bigger fish to fry than to go down the road of giving too much into a logo discussion until we fix some of the other cracks that we have in the district. So while I appreciate the conversation, that is all I have left to say, is that the branding of our district is the output of our district and how people feel about our district. Because how I feel about the district, it didn't matter whether it was the Sun logo, the book logo, it was what was going on in Dayton Public Schools. What are we putting out of Dayton Public Schools? How do our teachers feel? How do our staff members feel? How do our SROs feel? I don't care what's on their shirt. I care if they care that we care about them. Because they're not here today because of what's on their shirt. They're here for a whole separate issue. And I think until we deal with those issues, all that stuff is on the back burner for me.
Mr. Lacy?
Yeah, I just want to correct a previous statement that was made that we'll be operating in the red in 3 years. It's not.
No, we're not. Sorry.
That's,
we're not. Thank you, Mr. Lacy. Get him.
According to, I mean, yeah, we're not going to be operating in the red in 3 years.
Thank you. Go ahead, Ms. Wood.
Thank you, and thank you, Alex. We have been having this discussion for a long time around like honoring all the legacy that exists within our beautiful Dayton Public School community that has existed forever, and then kind of combining that into something that is, has continuity. And I think that I hear what our board members are saying, the most important things and where we're spending our money right now, and we'll be in the red in 3 years. So maybe the work that you can do right now without like, I know like that's a big delicate balance of taking this brand that has 8 high schools and elementary schools and bringing all those brands together in a way that represents Dayton Public Schools, because we are, at the end of the day, Dayton Public Schools. So, putting a pin in like all of fixing it all at once right now, what we might be able to do is like control all of the different brands that continue to come out. Like there's no more, like every high school has like the autonomy to go out and create a new t-shirt. The athletic department has the autonomy to create new branding, and we have branding everywhere. I drive by Welcome Stadium all the time and I'm like, it's Dayton Public Schools. We've gone a long way to establish it as Dayton Public Schools, but there's still some other branding around there that is confusing. So I think what our PIO team is doing for our community is really trying to bring our community together in a really solid branding way, not these individual ways. So like, I know we can't do all of it, it's both and I hear everything everybody's saying, but continue to do the great work that you do, because I do think the continuity of it is extremely important to selling and branding our district in the positive ways that this board, Dr. Lawrence, and all of you are doing, and the work that you're doing, especially with the Ford NGL Academies, and really like taking this as an opportunity to at least just put a pin in it to stop any other new branding from coming in, any other school or like program around us to create a new t-shirt. And when we say brands don't matter, the main thing is the main thing. We're walking around with the main thing is the main thing t-shirts on. People love t-shirts. They love to create new brands and new ideas. But as Dayton Public Schools, how are we as a PIO team, what are you gonna do now to like say, every school has a form that they fill out to say, we're creating a new t-shirt, we're doing this, and how does that reflect Dayton Public Schools the way we are today? So that's, I'll build from there. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Bailey.
Yeah, again, I want to make a correction. She said that we will be in the red again. And no, we will not be in the red in 3 years. But what I will say about this is that something that I've asked for since I've been on this board, really, is that, and I agree with what somebody down there said, we know what schools in this city, we know what school belongs to what logo, whatever logo. But one of the things that I have said time and time again is, I watch television sometimes and I'm looking at these commercials. We have a brand out in the community that is a negative brand. And the only way that it's going to change is by us changing our brand. And I don't think it's going to be by logos. I think it's going to be by representing what we have. And when we're doing the commercials, I've seen PIOs with the SROs that have been absolutely wonderful, but it's only in our community and not the community of the city. I've seen commercials with our HR person, I've seen commercials with our teachers, but I never see it in our community. So it's like we're trying to share our commercials with each other, but we're not telling the narrative of our schools out in the public. to know that Meadowdale has all these CTs with aerodynamics and things like that. So that's what I would like to see more of than just a change of the logo. So that's all I have.
Just to chime in, part of KQ's work, to my understanding, is they will be doing some streaming ads. So
Okay. Thank you.
Do they work with you, since you're like our
they
main
kind
person?
of go, Lisa, Dr. Lawrence, and me, kind
They
of.
don't know nothing about media. They barely watch TV.
Yeah, they'll, Alex will definitely be.
You're not even on social media.
You're not even on social
They'll
media.
be
That's a
involved
fact.
to make sure everything's aligned in the streaming ads and commercials and things.
They're not our primary demographic, are they? Y'all got some real people who look at
Lisa's face.
He don't even watch TV. I'm just saying.
He doesn't. He tells us all the time he has no social media, so he doesn't get to see the ads.
He like, yes, out there.
The last one.
One last thing I want to share is we overwhelmingly know people choose DPS because of the way they're treated and because of the connections they have. And so that's just really important for everyone to keep in mind. Every conversation you have, you are marketing Dayton Public Schools. So that's what we try to remind staff all the time.
They got real serious there. Appreciate that.
Hey.
Ms. Kincaid.
She tired
I'm gonna push this back. I say so.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Your next recommendation, Dr. Lawrence.
Dr. Gilboa, my next recommendation and my final one for a vote is a resolution, OPC Local 643 for a vote. Just a brief overview, since it was under 48 hours, we worked with Kenny Jones, the president of Local 643, Frost Brown Todd, and myself to put this resolution together to ensure that the paraprofessionals who were dealing with pending licenses and/or certifications, that when they finished taking care of the technical aspect of the paperwork, that their jobs were waiting for them in the space in which they left.
So moved.
Second.
Did you sing that?
He did sing it.
Moved by Mr. Lacy, second by Mr. Walker. Any questions on the motion?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
Is
and Mr.
there a,
Smith.
Dr. Davis, is there a time frame for these individuals or?
There is no time frame.
Okay.
We left that open.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
Has there been any district communication to these individuals?
Not yet. We were waiting on the vote.
What? You didn't jump the gun?
No, I did not. I waited to see if we got 4 votes, and so.
So then what if you did not get the 4 votes, then what would happen to these individuals? Would they just lose their jobs?
I don't want to use the word lose their jobs. If you looked at board docs, we initially had them on as termination, and I want to thank.
Losing their jobs.
That's losing your job.
Well, let me finish. Let me
Somebody
finish.
terminated, that's
Let me
losing your
finish. Let me finish. Let me finish, Mrs. Smith. And so after close consultation with several board members, I think, were you one of them? Mr. Walker, were you another one?
I called you as soon as them people got that email.
Yeah, and so again, the purpose was to ensure that that their jobs were whole when they finished with how to ODEW. And by the way, it wasn't a what if. After I talked to you and Mr. Walker, I wasn't worried about it.
I appreciate that. Appreciate your team doing the work to get this done. And I look forward to the outcomes.
Mr. Walker hopped in on my question that I had,
Because I think Joe's ready for us to wrap it up, so.
Well, I will say also too, in addition to talking to Dr. Lawrence about these individuals, I reached out to the State Board of Education with these individuals, the ones to see if they could help us get them through. So we are actively, as only a unit as a board and our human resource team, we are actively trying to do whatever we can to get these people to their licensure as soon as possible. Any other questions or comments?
Yes,
Go ahead,
Dr.
Mr.
Lawrence.
Smith.
Yeah.
And I'm not asking you to figure all this out now, but how do we improve that communication model to our staff? How does it go through that chain? Because the way we sometimes communicate creates consternation in that people may get an email that just says, hey, this is your status. You either resign or you terminate. That is troubling. And even though we can do things like this, unless we change how we communicate, the culture of communication, it doesn't help people, because then you have people that are like, this just happened. I'm going through trauma. Like, we create trauma sometimes through the communication that we have with people. And I really do think that we have to do a better job in doing this, because I got received multiple calls from people who said, hey, I'm at work. I got an email that says this, and it gives me a deadline of this small window to decide if I'm either going to be terminated or I'm going to resign. And while I am glad that you have a board now that is working to be in that space to go, let's catch that, I don't want to lose sight that if it wasn't for many people being able to make those calls and say, hey, I just got a call about this, this isn't right, the way we're communicating on this isn't right, then that could have just gone by the wayside and these people would have had to go, okay, I don't know what to do, I'm resigning. And that happens a lot when we do not have the communication needed to really work with people. And I know last year that's one of the things we've done. Last year when we had some issues with paras and testing, that it really took for us to have real conversations with the principals in the building, or their union leads, or people that can come out to the building and say, hey, you have this issue, you have until this time to get it straight. How can we help you get it straight? And I think we need to embrace that communication model, because sometimes there's emails that go out and somebody will say, hey, well, I sent this person an email 2 months ago. Or we're in Dayton, Ohio. You can go from the furthest school to the furthest school in 15 minutes, 20 minutes. If there's that big of an issue where we're going to say you either resign or get terminated, I do not think that's an email issue. I think that is coming out and also following up in person, because that is the only way we make people feel they are valued. And if we do not make people feel valued, we can't always go back and create an MOU to say, hey, I'm sorry this happened, we're going to fix it this way. So that is what I would encourage from not just you, but to everybody who is over people and make these decisions, because that causes a lot of issues for people. I mean, that is real traumatic for people to get just a message that says your career is about to change. And you have this small window to either fix it or make a decision. People get decisions like that all the time of either, are you going to resign or are we going to fire you? And that is troubling to me if we really talk about the branding of this district. We don't want to be a district that does people like that. So like I said, you don't even have to answer anything to it right now.
Mr. Smith, if I could, I appreciate Dr. Davis and Dr. Lawrence and President Goodwine. The MOU actually has notification in here that HR, the union president, union representative will receive something, that individual will receive something in writing prior to being placed on unpaid leave or anything like that. So they did add this into there, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Do you have anything you want to say, Dr.
I know I just want to be brief, and I said I know the HR team is in buildings a lot. We have had this conversation, Mr. Smith, and I want to thank you for bringing it up. Immediately, Dr. Goodwine called me, and I'm not sure that, I'm going to say this, like, I'm not sure people realize that we're like a team. So you all actually call me and say, hey, Dr. Lawrence, have you thought about? And so I go, no, I hadn't thought of that. Or I have thought about it, and we're going to do A, B, C, or D. And so we work together as a team. We don't catch every one of those things. You guys have your ears to the ground. You catch some things we don't. But I want to say that, and this is not being defensive, there's a timeline of what happens in districts that are trying to move from dysfunctional to functional, from unprofessional to professional, is that there are deadlines, there are rules to the game. And what happens oftentimes, Mr. Smith, is like people historically in Dayton thought there were no rules to the game. And then when we say, no, that's a real deadline. Yeah, it's a real thing. Real things happen when things aren't done. And we're transitioning through that. I do agree with you that phone calls can be made, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, even on that, when there are deadlines, if we know that there are deadlines, to let people know these things. Like, it is different to say, if we do not have you under this, this contract, or if we do not have you with this licensure, the district is at stake. Or if we can work these things, we work with all these unions, sit down and really have real discussions. If we're not doing that, then yes, on our end, we may say, yes, we have deadlines. So if we have deadlines, we know there's deadlines. So if we know there's a deadline, then this means we can work earlier than we do to let staff know about deadlines. And if we know that there are deadlines, we can give reminders about deadlines. And if we know there are deadlines, then we should watch that's what I mean about the communication. I'm not saying the actions are all totally wrong. I'm saying these kind of things should be in the communication when we talk to people, so people also know the severity of what we are dealing with when we have to make these decisions. That's all. Appreciate it.
Got it.
Just want to note, this is a great time. If you have a license in DPS for any position, please make sure you check it out. And most licenses, you are able to get multiple years on. If you do not know how to do that, our HR team will be glad to walk you through that process. I myself just checked on my legal license and realized I needed to finish my CLEs by December 31st. Please know, every year, if you're on a one-year license, the time to start working on that license is way before the school year starts. Per our rules, we can only employ you up to 60 days while your license is pending. So if there are any delays within that 60-day period, then we're going to be in these types of situations, which we want to do everything we can to prevent this from happening. So if you have a license now, you are on a one-year license in any aspect, whether it's a student activity, it's a pupil permit, it's your teaching license, please reach out to our HR team so they can help you know other options that are for you, because you do not have to have a one-year license. Usually, I think it's only your first year for some licenses that require you to stay on a 1 year. But past that, you can apply for a multi-year license.
Can I just ask a clarifying? It's not our rules, it's the Ohio Revised Code,
It is
right?
the Ohio Revised Code, which is our rules.
Thank you,
as
Board Member
well.
Walker.
Thank you.
That's important.
So it's
That's
a
important.
it's a legal piece that our treasurer cannot pay individuals beyond 60 days, but we can't hire you while your license is pending. So I know, if you heard this and you are in this room and you know someone with a license, please tell them to check their status and get with anyone who can help them just move forward on that. Just want to use that as a PSA. All right,
Thank
any
you.
other questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes?
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick, Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Ms. Woods,
Yes.
7 yeses.
Thank you, Dr. Lawrence. Madam Treasurer, your first recommendation for a vote?
Can I put them together?
If you'd like to, whatever you feel is best.
Okay. I recommend the approval of the following, A to I.
So moved?
Second.
Moved in second. Are there any questions on the motion?
Not a question, Madam President. I need to pull Dragonfly Athletics for a separate vote.
You got that, Madam Treasurer?
Which one is
And
that?
purchase
On
requisition?
purchase recs.
Dragonfly.
Okay.
Any other questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes?
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Ms. Woods.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Thank you, Dr. Jones.
No, we need to vote
No,
on the
Dragonfly.
I'm sorry,
Dragonfly.
Dragonflies, thank you.
But you are next.
You can make your way on up. May we have a vote on the Dragonfly?
I don't need you. You're next.
You're on deck.
Okay. President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes?
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Abstain.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Ms. Woods.
Yes.
6 yeses, 1 abstain.
Dr. Jones?
Thank you, Madam President. I recommend the ratification of the following contracts.
So moved?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Lacy, second by Dr. Bailey. Any questions on the motion?
I do.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. How many have we entered into MOUs for athletics for all of the students that play for Dayton Public Schools that are enrolled in non-public schools? Is this the last of them? If not, how many more do we have to go?
There may be some more that trickle in, of course, because, students are homeschooled and, yeah, but by and large, we're done.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we're on contracts though, because that's all we said was A. So are there any
You know,
questions?
can I make a motion? I'd like an amendment to the motion to take all of them together.
I'll accept the friendly
Accepted
amendment.
the amendment. Any questions on the motion?
So yes, I did want some clarity on the 48-hour waiver one of what is school AI. I think Mr. Williams knew that, that's why he in the suit.
So School AI is actually an AI tool we use currently. It's for teachers specifically and students. It creates chatbots and tutors. So this is actually expanding on that and getting some features that no one else, maybe a handful of schools across the U.S. has access to, and expanding the use of those in different schools, but also adding on, not just for teachers, they have an admin portal now that we will have access to that allows you to add the calendars and a few other things.
Okay, and then my other question, because I see this one as well, for the student ID cards, do every student now have a student ID?
I can get you the number, but we did complete in the first quarter the distribution of cards for all students. Of course, we have students trickling in still, and we have students leaving, but we have the cards on deck though to distribute for new students.
So if I can ask for some to be delivered to Stivers, because they said they still need like 400 more as of today.
Okay, we'll do.
Thanks.
400?
Yeah, Ms. Dooley, is that the right number? Is that a right number? For 400 for Stivers? For the entire building? No, they said they had 400 already, but they needed another 400 cards for students. I said, I just heard that
I'll
today.
get that number for you. I mean, I'll
Appreciate
get the info.
Your direction, correct? They have a little over 800 kids, I believe, so.
All right, any other questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy.
Yes?
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Ms. Woods.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Thank you. I recommend the approval of the following board member travel and expenses reimbursement.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Mr. Walker, second by Mr. Lacy. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes?
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Ms. Woods.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Thank you. Ms. Kidd, the policies, the wellness one? All right, policies will come after exec session. Closing comments, Mr. Lacy.
The Finance Committee met at 3 o'clock today and went over the financial statements, and they were in good order. And did you have, what did I miss?
Supposed to do the audit committee, shout them out.
Oh, and yes, and the Audit Committee had its quarterly meeting, and it was very productive. And I want to thank the Audit Committee.
All
And we're
right.
looking for new Audit Committee members. So I think everybody's gotten the email.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Reiner?
Yes, I have a couple of items of legislative updates for people from the State House. The first is House Bill 186, which would cap tax growth for districts on the 20 mil floor to inflation. It did pass the House, and it is moving, it has been referred to Senate committee. Senate Bill 93, which would intend to establish a new school financing system. This would be very, very in-depth. There's a lot of nuances to it, but it would radically change the way that schools are financed in the state. I would also like to bring the board's attention to the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce has formed a student transportation work group created by House Bill 96, which was voted in early this year. It's a very, very interesting work group of people from different superintendents from across the state, some non-public schools. This group wants to give recommendations to the state about how the legislature can address the transportation issues that schools like Dayton Public has been experiencing. It says the recommendations would be particularly regarding the feasibility of a school district transporting students enrolled in a community school or non-public school. I am very interested in how this work group will come to some recommendations and what their recommendations will be, so I will keep the district updated on that, and that is all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Yes, I want to say Happy Veterans Day to our district staff. Thank you all for your service. I did have a chance to go to the inaugural luncheon today, and a lot of our staff, those pictures they have, I have evidence to use on some things. Just want to put that out there. And to piggyback on what my colleague Ms. Reiner said, there is another House bill out there, 545, which it was introduced as legislation to prioritize public school education transportation. So we're interested in that to see where that travels in the House and the Senate to hopefully get that enacted into law. Another piece for me is voting took place last week. Congratulations to those individuals. I look forward to Ms. Garrison joining the dais here in January. And congratulations to those individuals who actually got out there and ran for public office. It is not an easy thing. And defeat hurts, but you can rebound from it and move forward in different directions. So thank you.
You good?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Representative Timms.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to our local representative.
Yes, Representative Timms, Desiree Timms, introduced that legislation of 545. Like I said, we're tracking it to see where it goes.
All right, Mr. Smith.
Thank you. I too was given the pleasure of sitting with many veterans in our district today at our event over at the Service Center. First, I want to say thank you to anyone that helped put that together. Just the look on people's faces to be honored for their service was amazing. So I don't want to go without lifting that up. But I also want to lift up something that was brought to that discussion by Mr. Unger from over at Stivers in lifting up the reality of this day, and that just 6% of our population here in this country have been military veterans. But yet, with such a small percentage of people that have been veterans, they make up a large percent of the homeless people in our country. They make up the suicide rate for veterans is nearly twice the rate for non-veterans. So not only is it imperative for us to lift up these veterans that come back and have served for us, but to make sure that we give them comfort and space. Being in that room wasn't just about talking about their experience, but being able to find kinship with people that have been in some spaces that I could never imagine being in. And so I just wanted to lift up everybody that put that together, because it is really dark for a lot of our veterans, especially veterans that come home and are not blessed to be able to find a good job and a good career and people that care about them and the mental health resources that they need. And we see fights with the VA all the time. And so I just wanted to say, I see you guys, and I want us to be able to keep doing things like that and really realize what makes up our district. You know, we talk about the 13,000 plus students, we talk about 2,500 employees, but really diving in to see what really makes up our district. So with that, I want to say keep loving on each other. I will also echo Mr. Walker's comments about those that get out and run for public service. I salute every single one of you that gets out there and does it with the best interest in mind, because it is not easy to get out there and have people walk into a booth and pick if they like you or not, because sometimes it comes down to, do they like you or not? And when I say that, not just always personally, but what you put out there. But to open yourself up is a huge thing. So a salute to everyone that does that. We're heading into Thanksgiving time. Christmas time is coming up soon, or whatever holiday you choose to celebrate. I don't get into all of that. But please be mindful that this is also a rough time, and I would be remiss if I did not just speak about the mental health of our veterans and talk about the mental health of people who have lost loved ones, people who are less fortunate. We look at what has been going around and we see people that are in less fortunate spaces. So please give people grace. Please find a way to help. Call someone, check on someone, see how they're doing. Invite them over to dinner. Take them a plate. Just really love on each other, and that is all I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Witt.
Thank you, everybody. Continue to be inspired by all of the work that I see, the conversations that you all have, and the advocacy that I see you all representing. So thank you. Thank you to the team for your fantastic work that you continue to do. Thank you, Dr. Lars. Thank you, Board President Goodwine, and all of my board team members up here, and all the community. So I appreciate you all.
Ms. Woods.
I don't really have much to say today. I would like to thank all our veterans for their service. I would also like to say I've been working in the spirit shop for about 3 weeks. Oh.
Yes, let's go with that.
Miss Guerin, 3 weeks. I think about 3 weeks.
You got to check that?
Yes, two.
2 checks.
The way that very. School is going very well, guys. I graduate May 19th at 8 p.m. You guys are gonna miss me so much. I know you guys don't have to tell me, but I'm gonna miss you guys too. And I'll see you guys next meeting. That's all.
Dr. Bailey.
I'm gonna put this back. Look at
Again, I'd like to echo the same thing. Just so proud of our veterans. Thank you all for your service. Our superintendent is one of them. Also, welcome back to those who won their elections and going to be back on the board. That's all I got.
Thank you. First, happy birthday, Dr. Jones.
Happy birthday!
Is it really? Second, because I want y'all to know how tight-knit we are. Happy belated birthday to Dr. Lawrence. His birthday was
Happy
yesterday.
belated birthday.
That's crazy.
That's how close they are. They're Scorpios right there. So, and Dr. Bailey said it too, excited, happy, we have a veteran that's sitting up here with us. He's Army. He's not like the Marines that I get to see, because they really loud about being a Marine. Look, I don't even see them out of nowhere. They just pop up. And ever since I seen that Bad Boy Forward movie, I knew that
Oh my
Marine was
gosh.
different than every other branch of the Army. So definitely happy Veterans Day to all the veterans in our district. It is always good to learn something new about individuals. I was not able to make it there because I was actually at the University of Dayton for a law program today. I do want to take a moment to thank people because this was an election. It was an election that was an election. And I want people, actually, you don't need to know these type of things, but contrary to popular belief, most individuals on this board are really tight-knit. And I got to see that, and not even just the board, the staff too. I got to see that myself during this election, and I want to thank individuals. I am James, appreciate that. I do want to thank some people like Ms. Wick. I want to thank you, even when the DEA put that vote of no confidence, you were one of the first people to reach out to me and gave so many supportive words, even though you were in your own battle yourself with your election. So I appreciate you on that. Dr. Bailey has always been right hand or left hand for me right now. Not only have you been out here, you keep me grounded, but I also hear about how you make sure that other people have stories correct. So I do appreciate you for that. Mr. Smith, if y'all don't think that, if you think we at each other's neck, Mr. Smith has always been a guiding light on that piece of it. He was even out there with me all the way through election day, making sure like keep your head up and keep going. So I appreciate you, despite how much we bicker up here, when it comes down to it, as a collective group, we live by a code and this board is actively working to make this place better. Mr. Walker, although there are a lot of things that I don't agree with what you do, I've heard of some things that you've said. And I appreciate you for being an individual who stepped out to go like, no, I'm gonna defend this board and I'm going to defend my board members. I just appreciate you, man. You be you. I'm still gonna pray for you. There's some things happening there, but you are truly you. Mr. Lacy, if y'all didn't see that I got Mr. Lacy to get in some of my videos, he was the star. He has been one of the best delights that I got throughout the selection process, because most people don't know how much of a sense of humor Mr. Lacy has. He was very good not only defending this board, defending the narrative of us as a collective, but just defending the work that has occurred. And I really appreciate that. I will say, Dr. Jones, I appreciate you. Out of nowhere, you always gave great positive work about the things that were happening in here. Ms. Hamilton, if no one else can pray, I know you are a prayer warrior, and I appreciate all the things that you put out in that piece. Madam Treasurer, I appreciate you too, just sending words of encouragement. Even though Dr. Lawrence is one of my biggest headaches, like the biggest on that piece of it, I appreciate him too of coming through and just reminding like the work that we have been trying to do. So I definitely appreciate just all the things. There are a ton more people, but I feel like if I name everyone, then Ms. Woods was there too, y'all. She was.
Cause your thing is still sitting in my yard.
She did put it in the yard. She made a video. She did all types of stuff. I was just
Right after a long meeting, I sat there and it was getting chilly too, and I made sure that I put it in my yard, and it stayed there until the end. So I feel like I was there. It's actually not in the trash yet. It's sitting on my porch. I'm gonna take a picture with it today.
I appreciate you. I do. I appreciate the many individuals like Chief Jones. Chief Jones and Chief Sheehy. Y'all two, actually, if you guys got to see first, Chief Jones, I appreciate you and all the words that you gave me throughout the piece, and that you didn't like make me do a lot of work while I was doing that. So thank you on that piece. If you saw my Rocky video, I want you to know that there were two people who filmed for me when I did that video, and one of those individuals was Chief Sheehy. And I couldn't stop running up the steps, because then she would clown me for the rest of my life about not being able to make it up those steps. So despite the different viewpoints that we made here, I do appreciate that support and that help, and just having fun and being human with each other. I say all that to say, like, this board, I'm excited. Even Ms. Garrison, who's coming onto the board, definitely appreciate not only, she always guides me back when I go a little bit far, and she brings me back. And I'm excited to have someone joining this board that is another DPS alumni, which now gives us Meadowdale, Belmont, Colonel White, Thurgood, and Dunbar. You know, a person with the Dunbar more than a couple of years, you know, nothing. So I'm excited that another DPS alumni is coming to make this district even stronger. I do also want to thank my brother for running with me, although he did not make it. He was not victorious. He brought a lot of fun to this campaign as well, and I will forever appreciate that my family supports 99% of the things that I do with. They just go in blind with me sometimes and go, we just gonna make it happen. And if you guys didn't make it down to the Board of Election, I think anybody who came to vote on the last day really enjoyed that full band out there playing When the Saints Go Marching In. And you got to see Mr. Lacy hop on the trumpet. And he actually hopped in multiple sets. I knew 3 notes, but Mr. Lacy was out there, and I appreciate all that piece, and that came for that. And I will say, to the audit committee, we are looking for 2 individuals who are passionate in that piece of it. It is going really well. That group has met. They are doing amazing work. If you are interested in it, there is information. I don't know if you have a page on the website, but I'm going to believe that if you don't, Ms. Kincaid will make that happen for you. But there is a QR code and an application to fill out. So thank you all for that. Ms. Kidd has told me that we have stalled long enough for us to knock out these policies. We do have 2 to do at that point. 1 is for second reading, which is our wellness policy. Apparently, we only did it for first reading, and we didn't finished that piece, so let me knock that out. And then the rest are for first reading. All right, so going with the second reading first. And this policy, I believe, is needed for which department is this? Nutrition Services, thank you. In so much as the Board of Education is committed to the continuing updating of its policies, rules, and regulations manual, the committee, which was appointed, has been working towards that goal. The following is brought at this time for second reading in compliance with Board FAL. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Dayton City School District, Montgomery County, Ohio, hereby accepts and adopts the following policies that have been codified for inclusion in the Handbook of Policies, Rules, and Regulations, EFGA, District Wellness Policy. I move that we adopt policy EFGA. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved by Dr. Goodwin, second by Ms. Wick. Any questions on the motion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
On this policy, there was a reference to a wellness committee. Has that been established?
Probably not, since we haven't approved it yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
Is there preliminary work been done to establish it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right. Any other questions on the policy
Don't we have another policy?
for second reading?
Yeah, because it was, we were going to vote on it at our last meeting, and we sent it back.
Oh, the one that you got.
First reading, though.
Okay, so is it in the first reading?
I thought we said we were sending it back to policy.
So, and you guys actually had that one incorrect, because it was sent back, although it was an OSBA policy, so there was no confusion on it.
Right, which
So
is
you
why
want
we
that?
sent it back immediately at the beginning of the policy meeting.
Yeah, so do you guys want to do the second reading on that one too?
Could we do it after executive session?
Yeah, we can. I mean, it's an OSBA policy, so.
Yeah, I think
I
our
thought it
last,
did. I
our
thought
last
we were gonna
meeting
vote.
was first meeting. We were
That's
supposed
what
to.
It was supposed to go through first, and then I sent it back before it went through first.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so then it'll just be on first reading.
Right,
Yep.
All right.
thank you.
No, correction. That was a second reading that we had pulled down to send back.
So then it goes second reading, and we'll do it after policy, after exec session.
Yeah.
So we can get it up there.
All right.
All right. Any questions on this one? All right, seeing none, Madam Treasurer, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin,
Yes.
Dr. Bailey,
Yes.
Mr. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Ms. Wick,
Yes.
Ms. Woods.
Yes.
7 yeses.
Okay. Okay, in so much as the Board of Education is committed to the continued updating of its policies, rules, and regulations made, the committee, which was appointed, has been working towards that goal. The following are brought at this time for first reading in compliance with Board FAL BFC policy adoption. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Dayton City School District, Montgomery County, Ohio, hereby accepts and adopts the following policies that have been codified for inclusion in the Handbook of Policies, Rules, and Regulations. There are about 15 policies on here. Please check those out, and if you have any comments on them, bring them forward to us. These policies are being read for the first time. As such, a motion or second is not required. The policies will be available in the superintendent's office for the review and comment period prior to their second reading and adoption by the Board of Education. Furthermore, the policies will be reviewed by the superintendent's office, the board office, and the legal department of the Dayton Public Schools prior to the second reading. And just for the file numbers, it's DBD, DE, DLC, EEA, EEAC, EEACD, EEAD, EHC, IGBB, IGBEA, IGD, IGDJ, IKA, IKE, IKEB, IKF, JFCK, JGG, JHG, KAB. And for those who watch us, these policies have been updated to align with changes in legislation, and these are policies that have been suggested and approved by our group from the Ohio School Board Association. So that is why there are so many at this time, and we've been working on these for a couple of months. They've gone through the appropriate committees, and those committees sent them forward, and the final committee sent them to the board. All right, any comments or questions?
Yes, JGG will be removed after what you just said, and what you said.
JGG will not be up for, it will be voting on that after exec session. Mr. Smith, we only asked for 3 seconds.
JGG is after exec?
Yes, because that's the one you guys was on second reading, the high school discipline and tardy policy.
No, that's not the one that we had.
Who figured it
Ms. Kidd will get it to you, whatever it was. Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
I was so moved by talk about our veterans. I totally forgot that we had an awesome time this Saturday at the Success Looks Like Me event. Want to shout out the best athletic director in the state of Ohio, Ms. Victoria Jones, and everybody else that played a part in that. And I will tell you, if you do not serve food to teenage boys, they will serve themselves and they will have some amazing looking plates. I saw kids walk by with like 4 burgers, topped by like just onions and chicken wings with baked beans around it. Like, young boys can eat, so they can eat. But then also, because she is never one to just rest on her laurels, we have an amazing cheerleading competition coming up this weekend. Please check that out if you get a chance. Our cheerleading teams really, really work hard on this. It's really been a hit. It's been well attended. And I just want to thank everybody out there who made last Saturday's event go great, and everybody who's working to make this Saturday's event go great. So please get out there and attend that cheerleading competition and check out our cheerleading squads.
And take pictures of the decor, because the way y'all decorate is amazing.
Yeah, I know, man.
All right, pursuant to section 121.22. There's a ribbon
Yes.
cutting tomorrow. Go ahead, Mr. Walker.
Ruskin and East End, in collaboration with City of Dayton and Dayton Public Schools, is doing a ribbon cutting tomorrow at 11 a.m. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Ms.
It's in our
Kidd.
emails.
Ms. Kidd, can you put that information, actually, I'll go to the cheerleading competition and the ribbon cutting, this district announcements on the board doc, so if people go to that, they can see that, please. All right, pursuant to section 1212.22G of the Ohio Revised Code, I move that this board go into executive session. This meeting is being held to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal of a public employee.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Mr. Walker, second by Ms. Wick. Any questions on the motion?
No.
Seeing none, may we have a vote?
President Goodwin?
Yes.
Dr. Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Lacy?
Yes?
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Reinhardt?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Wick? Ms. Wick?
Yes.
Ms. Woods?
Yes.
7 yeses.
Before you guys go, real quick, just wanted to say congratulations to Dr. Dinsmore and Dr. Sheehy for successfully defending their dissertation.